guys know it. Well, Leo, assuming Pyro's able to see it, you can take a little breather.
I can see nothing.
There we go. Get yourself some rest, Leo. Be ready for the second.
Yeah, that's right. Step out.
Chill. You chill, sir. You deserve chill. 8 days straight.
You are awesome. A 2-hour route. And then
hey, I'm just popping in the
good to know.
Oh. Wow.
We are not muted.
Bye, everybody.
It's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Better people. Oh, baby. Better people. Engines roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we've been named, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, ain't looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby,
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 5 of season 2 of the GT PHG World Series. I am here, T Case, and I'm joined by Oak and Pyro. Oak, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How are you, TKs?
Oh, doing fantastic. And Pyro, glad you're able to join us. How are you, sir?
I am devastated that I didn't qualify for the first split.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. It's going to be a great race. I'm glad to hear that all of us are racing in this race this weekend because it is going to be a fun one. Again, this is the GT PHG World Series. If you don't know, PHG stands for Papa's House of Game. And for more information on this league, if you want to be a part of it, please click the link pinned in the chat. You'll find everything you need to know there so you can get involved and join, because you can join at any point. At any point you can join. So even if you've missed these first few races, you can hop in and enjoy the rest, or you can be like me and just do the one race you want to do, and that is this race, because tonight and tomorrow we have an incredible race for you. We are here on Mr. Salamander MN's channel. He is running things behind the scenes, handling all of our production this evening. Big shout out to Salamander. If y'all are watching, please be sure you like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. It's a lot of fun. We want to get Salamander up there to 500 subscribers. He's so close. So please help us out in doing so, and we would greatly appreciate it. So tonight we have a wonderful, wonderful race in store. It is Spa, baby. And not just Spa. There's going to be weather. We all qualified during the week in the wet. Our race today will start in the dry, but there's definitely rain coming. This is round 5 of season 2. We are at Spa 24 hours, the one with the really long pit exit. We're doing 25 laps, and it's over 2 minutes a lap, y'all, so do the math. We have 3 times tire wear, 3 times fuel, and the racing hards are required, but all tires are available for use. And they are in Group 3 machinery, and it is Group 3 of their manufacturer who they chose. So everybody chooses a manufacturer, and then you got to stick with it no matter what. Group 3, Group 4, you got to use it. So this weekend, all 3 of us and more, we have one of our commentators in this race, and we have several in the next race. I am Team Porsche. Oak, what team are you this weekend?
I'm
Or
gonna be
this
Team
season?
W. I've been Team W. BMW, sorry.
BMW. Very nice, very nice. And Pyro, if you, or what team did you select? And I know you were wishing you were in that top split.
Everyone should know by now that I famously only drive the Genesis.
He only drives the Genesis. And if you don't know, now you
Now
do
you know.
Now you know. And here we have our manufacturer points. Pyro, can you read us through these and let us know where they're standing?
Absolutely. In first place, with a very large lead, Genesis with 431 points, followed by BMW in second place, led by the alien himself, Mr. Jorge. We have Ferrari in third place, Lamborghini in fourth place, Mazda in fifth place, McLaren featuring Papa in sixth place. We have Nissan in seventh. Eighth would be Chevy. Porsche in ninth place. 10th place is Toyota. Lexus is in 11th place. Renault is in 12th. 13th is Honda, and Citroen in 14th place, followed by, with 1 point, Alfa Romeo, and then the last, in no particular order, is Audi, Ford, Dodge, and AMG.
Very nice, very nice. So you guys are sitting pretty in the points there. And this is our top split. This is our first race tonight. These are some of the fastest drivers, minus 1 or 2 who weren't able to make this race. So some of the higher up split 2 guys got promoted up into the top split. Oak, you were one of those guys that wasn't able to make it. Can you run our top split drivers this evening?
Yes, sir. So, in first place, as usual, we have Jorge Sr. in the BMW. In second place, we have Wade CBR driving for Ferrari. In third place, we have Bobagito in the Genesis. In fourth place, we have Wilcox in the Honda. In fifth place, we have Banana in the BMW. In sixth place, we have Racer51 in the Mazda. In seventh place, we have JK85 in the Lamborghini. In eighth place, we have Shaggy Doo 88 in the Ferrari. In ninth, we have we have PHG Slick, in the Ferrari. In 11th, we have Talon in the Nissan. In 12th, we have Zam in the Citroen. In 13th, we have Velvet Thunder in Dodge. In 14th, we have Turbo in the Porsche. 15th is McNaughty in the Lamborghini. And 16th, rounding out the order, is Vetterdan in the Chevy.
Awesome. And I got to say, I'm very impressed. I would not have been able to remember what place they were in because it's not written and there's just the dots there. So good on you for keeping track of all that. I was like, oh, what's the next one? Anyways, we have some special bonus points on offer here. Fastest overall qualifier gets 5 points. Pole of your split gets you 5 points. Fastest lap of your split gets you 5 points. Most laps led gets you of your split gets you 5 points. And if you lead a lap, you get 1 point. And explain to you, we all qualified during the week. That qualifying time is what puts you in your split. And then tonight, they will all qualify again under very different circumstances. And that'll determine their race order for the split. So you guys are both doing this race. Pyro, what have you done as far as preparation and any insight of what we might see in this top split? Oh, I believe you are muted, sir. Well, then I will pass it over to you, Oak.
Sorry, I'm back.
There we go.
Yes. So one thing that's going to be incredibly difficult, right? So I don't practice for these races as much as I should. One thing that's going to be incredibly difficult is dealing with the weather and also figuring out how long the pit stop is. That's going to be the most important thing because that determines if there's a shorter pit stop, you can just jump out off the hard tires. You can run your one lap on the hard tires and, do what you can with the softs. I'm not familiar if the race is going to rain the way it did during qualifying or not. But one thing I would like to point and tell people to pay attention to is KP Wilcox is in this race.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that the order of things can change quite drastically.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is a great point. That is a great point. And Oak, with your preparation, what are you thinking as far as the difference between what we saw in qualifying and what qualifying is going to look like in this race?
I think first off, qualifying will be a lot more drier. So I think times there's a pretty big difference between going full wet to full dry. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see if drivers can adapt whether from wet to dry. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe we have qualifying getting underway. So let's take a look at these conditions. And we'll get an idea of, well, yes, it is sunny out there. You can see the reflection on the cars as everybody starts to pull out of the pits. And we'll get to take a look at these beautiful automobiles here. We're on board with Shaggy Doo. For y'all who don't know, Shaggy is the one who came up with this series and planning a lot of this in the background. and it has been just excellent having him do this. Every race has been exciting. Every race has been fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far this season, and this race is so good that I even had to get in on the action. So I'm looking forward to doing this race in the next split. Shaggy in the Ferrari. Behind him we have PHG Turbo, and looking like Turbo did pick up a penalty back there in the background. But I do love this lovely blue Ferrari shell livery, part of the PHG Elite. And looking very nice. Racer 51. Wow, that is a heck of a motor carriage there in the Mazda, the Monster Mazda. Followed by Turbo with the, what's that gum called? The gum from that you'd get at Toys R Us. The zebra stripe or whatever. That's hilarious, Turbo. Fruit stripe, there it is. It said it on the back. Good reading. Then we have our fellow commentator, Velvet Thunder, aka Tussimbox. Tussum is going to take over lead comms for the next race. And we got Banana, the Tick Banana Mobile, BMW. Looking very nice. Talon in his Under Armour. Very kind of Japanese-inspired livery there with the Under Armour, the red and white. McNaughty, Team Lamborghini representing. Shout out to Simon making it to the World Series. Very exciting. Then we have Vetter Dan in the Salamander designed, Vetter Dan customized Chevrolet. Jorge Sr. in the BMW again.
Let's call that
very
the base
nice
model BMW.
The base model?
The base model BMW.
Indeed. Slick Rick in the color change Ferrari. JK85 CBR in the Lamborghini. And last week we did see these Lamborghinis working together, really doing some special stuff on the track. As we see Wade CBR going into the pits, not even doing drivers going into the pits. Bobagito as well, not even setting a hot lap, just burning fuel. This is a long lap. Interesting to see as we got KP in the house, making his PHG debut in the Honda. Oak, did you develop a strategy for qualifying? Because that's just interesting to see some of these drivers not even setting a time.
I think for qualifying, time on this track will be a little bit tight. So I think the best thing to do is probably doing a hot lap and then resetting back to the pits, or maybe just running out the entire qualifying. But if you want to take the risk and go and do a lap on kind of dirty tires, I mean, that's completely up to the driver. So it'll be interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely think the strategy would be to do one lap so you burn as much fuel as possible, and then head straight to the pits, because the tire wear is ×3. So you want the car to be as light as possible for your hot lap. So I expect to see, people's third lap on track to actually be the one that they plan on using to qualify.
And this is all to our advantage because we're all racing, not in this race, but later on. So we're able to use some of this knowledge for our own. As Shaggy Do and Racer 51 are finishing their first hot lap. And, Racer 51 really benefiting from the tow on the back straight there. We'll see Shaggy across the line, the 220, and then Racer 51 quickly ahead with a 219.3. Shaggy resets to the pits. Gonna be full tank of fuel though, resetting to the pits as Velvet Thunder takes P2, then Turbo into P4, Banana up into P2, and Banana resets back to the pits. So again, a full tank of fuel as Jorge Sr., surprise, takes it by half a second, resets to the pits. So we have two basic strategies going on here as far as, or I guess Racer 51 kept going, didn't he? So Racer 51 just running laps, whereas either no lap set and pit stop for a lighter car or reset to the pits. You guys are both liking the run that out lap and then pit strategy so far?
Oh, absolutely. It's with the 10-minute qualifying and the amount of time that it takes to do a lap on this track, I figure get the car as light as possible again, and then go for it.
And go for it. As McNaughty starts his hot lap here, going around the first corner, looking nice and tidy. Go back over to Jorge Sr. on his out lap. Now, are they only going to get one actual flying lap? They're not going to get a second one, are they? Unless they stay out one more lap after their flyer?
Yeah, unless they stay out after their flyer should be. Well, someone, depending on what position you come out of the on the track, or what position you come out and what time it is, you may be able to sneak an extra lap if you have enough time. Because I believe there's a minute and 30-second runoff, grace period. So if you catch it just right, you may actually get an extra lap.
Okay, interesting. As we see, Shazam unfortunately picks up a half-second penalty, and the penalty spot on this track is on a very it's not straight, but it's a long, flat-out section of the track in that final sector.
Not an ideal place to serve a penalty, but what's really damaging about that is about catching a penalty during qualifying is in this tournament you can't back out.
Right.
So once you got that penalty, that's going to cost you.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, and we're seeing here CBR doing CBR things. If you don't know, that's Cornbread Racing. Making a big appearance in the PHG World Series, and they are clearly working together. And we did confirm that is allowed, and they are going to benefit a lot from the tow if Bobagito, who, if we know Bobagito, should keep it nice and tidy, allowing his two teammates behind him to take advantage. I know I always do better following a car, especially if it's someone who's faster than me. So following Bobagito around here would definitely be beneficial.
Yeah, you get the benefit of the slipstream, but I'm focused on 10th place at the moment because I really want to see where this comes out. If this guy's anywhere near the top 5 positions, I expect there to be a lot of not necessarily fighting, but it's going to be a real interesting race.
Absolutely.
He is fast.
Yeah. And he is just now starting his hot lap, so he's all the way in the back. We'll see what the CBR crew does as they cross the line. A little slide back there from Wade. JK able to stay tight, and JK 85 benefiting from the tow up into P2 with Bobagito in P3 as he was giving JK the tow. And Wade,
look at how close they are.
Yeah, they're very. Would you think the dirty air would be affecting JK?
I think honestly, I wouldn't be sure of that because there's pretty long straights on this track, and I think you make up the time on those straights when you're drafting.
Very fair, very fair. And unfortunately, Wade kind of had a little bit of a wiggle, and he wasn't able to get the same time as JK or Bobagito, but Jorge Sr. already on pole, setting purple times on his flying lap here. So getting that second flyer in, and he was on the reset back to pit strategy, if I'm not mistaken. Or did he do the other way around? I thought he reset to pit.
I don't think he reset. I do think he pitted maybe second lap, but I don't think he reset.
Okay. And he just marginally improves less his net. Wow. Looking good. Jorge Sr. back to the pit, so he's done. That is it for him. Banana up into P2. Demoting JK. Very nice. Very, very nice. These are some quick times. 2:18.163, and we got KP Wilcox here on the final lap in the final sector. No penalties to serve, so he's going to be able to keep it pinned. Should be able to keep it flat here. Yep, no issue on the soft tires in the dry. And keep in mind, the hard tire is required, and it feels very different from the soft tire. Look at him clobber that first apex, and you want to take the second one a little bit wider on the throttle as early as possible and across the line up into P2. Still just about half a second off Jorge Sr. Can anybody else do anything to take that away from Jorge? That was a great lap. We're going to be in for a treat. We are going to be in for a treat. Very fast indeed. As Bobajito looks like Banana is still able to put in a lap time here. Coming around here. I struggled with this, and he is up. I always struggle with that corner right there. It is. I don't commit early enough, and it bites me in the butt every time.
Oh yeah, having being able to take that flat is not only is it very satisfying, but it's very rewarding there too.
Yeah, it benefits. Like you can tell if the person behind you gets it right and you don't, they're on you so fast as he comes into the final chicane, and then if you don't get it right and the person in front of you does,
he's gone.
Then you just watch them drive away. Yep. And Banana up into P3.
Wilcox just left.
Oh, that's why. Oh,
Yeah,
that is unfortunate.
I noticed that.
That is unfortunate. Well, that promotes Banana up to P3. And we'll go through here. Pyro, can you read through our qualifying standings?
Yes. With first place by a second. And I have to stress this. He's a second faster than everyone else. We have Jorge in first place. Bobajito, my teammate, my Genesis teammate, in second. We have Banana in third. We have JK85 starting in fourth in the Lamborghini. Racer 51 in fifth. Shaggy Doo in sixth. We have McNaughty in the Huracan in P7. Velvet Thunder in the Viper in eighth. We have Talent in the Nismo in ninth. Wade CBR in the Ferrari in 10th. We have Vetter Dan, because he's better than you. In the 11th, in the Corvette, obviously. We have Turbo in the RSR. Slick we have PHG Slick in the Ferrari as well. Jism in the Citroen, and KP, which I am because he backed out.
Yeah, he would have been P2 by half a second, but
he did in fact get disconnected too.
Disconnected. Oh, you hate to see it. Engine failure, mechanical failure there.
Hopefully he can come back in, but I'm not familiar with how that's going to work out.
Neither am I. We'll see what happens here momentarily. Well, hopefully they are able to get back in, because that'll make that battle for first really exciting. CBR boys are looking strong in this one for sure. So hards are required. We know it's going to rain. What tires? Hard. Yes, and it's going to rain hard. Oak, what tires do you think people are going to be starting on?
Honestly, I think the front runners will be starting on softs and waiting till that rain hits, and then they probably after all the rain comes, they'll jump onto the hards. But if it really depends on where you start from here.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends. All depends.
And I do see in the chat, Shaggy is saying KB can rejoin, and Shaggy can put him in the correct order. So KP, if you can hear us, please rejoin if you haven't done so already. Yeah, I was looking at this, and it looks like a shorter first stint before the rain, and then a longer stint after. So it'll be interesting. Some people can make the tires last longer, like you were saying during qualifying, Pyro. It is ×3 tire wear, so the softer compounds are definitely going to struggle What if you don't mind giving a little insight, what are you thinking as far as the start? If you're starting, let's say you're starting mid-pack, what tire are you going to start on?
If I was starting mid-pack, I would want to get the hard tires out of the way.
Yeah.
But right, and here's something. It may be controversial, but I would etch out the soft tires out of it wholly. I wouldn't touch them. I would go to the mediums, if anything.
Yeah. That's a good. But we did some practice yesterday, and I did see some drivers were able to do the first stint on the softs, but the tires were well worn by the end of it. So we might see, maybe Jorge is good on tires, maybe KP, but yeah, I think you're right. The medium is going to be the play over the soft, I think, as well. And it does look like KP is going to rejoin. So that is positive. I see Jorge was urging Shaggy to get it started. So he didn't have that extra competition, but not to take away from Banana or Bobajito or JK, those guys right behind him, Shaggy as well. They definitely have an opportunity to apply the pressure, especially early on. Turn one is a tight, slow hairpin. A lot can happen. I believe this is a grid start, so that also bunches everybody up there at the front. And then we all know going side by side up Eau Rouge is not a good idea. It can be done, but it usually benefits the third person behind them who is able to get double slipstream and then just drive on by.
Oh yeah. Now it being a grid start, I don't expect to see this, but knowing KP, I also, because this is a league, I race with him a lot in daily races, and I tell you this: typically he's in first place, unless Simon's in, but he normally goes to the back. I don't expect him to do this because it's a league race and it's for points, but I have a suspicion that he didn't run his best lap during quali.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion, and I feel like he's a ringer, and this is going to be a very interesting race.
It should be exciting. I've never seen this person race, so I'm excited to see it happen. I'm not quick enough to be in dailies with y'all. So unless it's a daily race A,
well,
then
I'll give you a quick rundown. So 2 years ago, I predicted that either Simon or KP would make the world tour.
And you were right.
Yes.
And you were right. We got Simon going to be in Los Angeles, I believe, in November.
November 6th.
November 6th. I have it on my calendar. Gonna see if I can make that happen. It would be fun to get out there and support it and see it in person. I know a few people in the community are planning on going, so pretty cool.
The next time they're in New York, I'm gonna go. I contemplated going this year, but I'm gonna be taking a bunch of. Well, I've already been taking trips, but I'm gonna be taking a couple more trips, so I won't be able to make it to Los Angeles, unfortunately. But it was definitely in the cards. It was right extremely close to happening.
It was a possibility, but there's other things, and that's kind of, I have it there. It's like I don't need to plan it this far out. I can wait a little bit longer and see what the fall's shaping up like, but should be pretty cool. Hopefully we get underway here pretty soon. This is a long race. It's going to be entertaining. There's going to be a lot of action. We're going to do our best to cover it all, but Salamander is but one person, and he's going to get us as many replays and live action as possible. I'm so happy to be joined again by Pyro and Oak here in the booth. A quick reminder, if you are interested in being involved in this series, there is a link pinned in the chat. Please click on that and it will give you all the information if you want to join us we would love to have you, as you're about to see tonight with all the races. We have split 1 and split 3 tonight, and you're going to see that it really doesn't matter what split you're in. It's going to be good racing. I do imagine this one to get spread out a little bit throughout the race, but I think we're going to see some close, tight racing, as well as some teamwork with the CBR and PHG drivers together and do the best they can to dominate this here race and all the weather that Belgium has to offer, because it is a lot. And we're also going to see some nighttime action because Shaggy, in his infinite wisdom, put the weather time on times 30. So times 30 times normal time. So if your brain can handle that, that's how fast time's going to be moving during this race. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see sunset. We're going to see sunrise. We're going to see rain. See how drivers react, whether they're going to use the medium, intermediate tires. We already talked about the slick compounds of what they might be using. And then again, if y'all could like and subscribe. This is Salamander MN's channel, and he is running this broadcast and also does a whole lot behind the scenes as well, making sure everything's looking good. I believe Shaggy's almost got the lobby set. For those who have ever hosted a lobby, you know that having somebody join in after qualifying has taken place can be a little frustrating. At least it is for me. But hopefully Shaggy gets it all sorted and we can have a nice, clean race. Any last thoughts before this thing gets started, boys?
Yes, I would like to know what your predictions are. I'd like to start with you, Oak. What are your predictions for the race? Who finishes pole?
I think only because he's an alien, I'm going for Jorge. Only because I've seen he's 1 second faster, so I think that's my top bet for this one.
And who do you think finishes in second?
That's interesting because there's many people. I think either one of those. I think one of those drivers that are going to be second, maybe one of the CBR folks.
And round out pole for us.
I think Wilcox. I'm curious to see. Yep.
Okay, and what about you, TKs?
Let's see. I don't know that there'll be a shakeup at the front as much as there will be in the middle of it all. Yeah, this is tough. I'm gonna say KP first. I'm gonna go for a little bit of an upset. Banana second, and Bobagito third. Nothing against Jorge. I just think there might be some other things that this race has to offer that might inhibit his ability to hold on to pole. Perhaps some drama at the beginning or at the start of one of the stints.
So my prediction is I predict KP finishes first. And it's because he's qualified within a half a second of Jorge, and he's in mid-engine, so he's going to be good in the rain.
Absolutely, and it looks like go ahead, real quick.
Getting ready to start. I think Bobagito.
Oh my goodness! Hold on.
Oh,
KP
wow.
already. Oh, he's on the softs. KP takes him into turn one as they come up Eau Rouge. That already puts Jorge Sr. on the back foot with Banana clearly in the tow, and a big gap between Banana and McNaughty, who made up several places. So we had some issues with the CBR guys there at the start. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but CBR is nowhere to be seen as Jorge attempts to peek around the outside, and that is not happen. The move is not on. He has to tuck back in with Banana just behind him as they come into what seems like the longest corner on this track as you slow all the way down first gear, back up into second, getting on the power. Those racing softs looking extra smooth. Looks like I see Wade all the way back there in P8. I just don't know what happened to JK or Bobagito because they are nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure if they were aware of the grid start and false start check or what, but that has been really great for Talon, who has gotten ahead of McNaughty for P4. So Talon and McNaughty and Slick all making big moves there at the start of the race. And then you can see further back, we have, I see Slick and Velvet Thunder. And there's Wade, and there I see Bobagito and Shaggy.
P9. Yeah.
Further back, yeah.
Wow.
So battle for P6 is definitely on. Looks like Racer 51 way back there as well. So chaotic start to this race for sure. KP taking full advantage of Jorge, and then further back, Talon McNaughty really separating themselves, which is good as they're just going side by side. Velvet Thunder gets run wide, trying to keep it pinned around the outside there. Not easy to do, but he's able to keep the position, but he does get a half-second penalty as we go through the chicane side by side there with Racer 51. More contact, it looked like, between Wade and Velvet Thunder. Velvet Thunder coming across the line, Wade up the inside. Yeah, Velvet with the half-second as they come into turn one. He keeps it down. Bobagito, yeah. What a start indeed. As McNaughty is now applying pressure to Talon. Coming up Eau Rouge, tucked well in the slipstream. He's going to have a great run down the Camel Straight. It's going to be nice. He's going to be eyeing a move on Talon, or does he want to work with them and try to make a bigger gap to the big old battle of cars they have behind? No. Talon goes defensive on the brakes. Talon keeps the position, puts the car in the perfect position, not allowing McNaughty.
McNaughty didn't take it to tip. Yeah, I'm shocked, right? I expected, Jorge back in the P1 with KP right on him, and Jorge's in the mediums.
Jorge on the medium, so by the end of this stint, he's going to have a little bit better wear, but I would imagine the NSX is a little better on tires than the BMW, so it could even out.
Because of the MR layout. But, you know, I didn't expect Bobagito to forget that Genesis has a lot of torque. So in the standing start, it's pretty much if
you need that TC.
You need traction control with that. It has so much torque. So
absolutely.
Bobagito has his work cut out to make it back up the field.
He's got two cars ahead of him that are battling it out with Velvet Thunder. Does have the penalty, so he's definitely going to lose the position. Shaggy Doo's right there as well. Now Shaggy Doo goes up the inside of Bobagito, but he has to back out of it a little bit. He's on the inside again. Can they both keep it pinned? Yes.
He may have a better run than Bobagito up here. Oh, he loses another position.
JK gets the best run out of all three, and we know JK is going to work with his teammate as he locks bumpers with Bobagito as they try to go both of them around the outside. JK gets Racer 51 understeers off the track as well. That puts Bobagito right behind Slick coming into the chicane. 2 wide, 3 wide into the chicane. Oh my goodness. Velvet Thunder gets pushed right. We got a penalty in the background. And oh no, Bobagito spins coming out of the chicane. Bobagito spins. Can he get the traction? No, that drops him back down into last place. That was insane. You don't often see 3 wide going in there. And look at that gaggle, an almighty gaggle, almost 4 wide. Who's going to back out? Racer 51 with the penalty. And that was
McNaughty?
No, that was, who else is in the Lamborghini? It was not McNaughty. He's further ahead. That may have been JK. That was JK. Both CBR drivers. Oh, that is tough. That is tough.
Velvet Thunder CBR today, man.
Yeah, tough. Velvet Thunder in P14. Bobagito up into P13. And unfortunately, JK with a half a second penalty plus a spin. We're going to take a look at the start here and see exactly what happened. Let's look. Bobagito just didn't even get off the line, and he gets bumped by his teammate JK. Chaos ensues after that one. Drivers trying to get out of the way, and it just looks like Bobagito was not ready for that start. That is unfortunate.
What a start. What a start.
Jorge in P1, followed by KP, and you might think that KP is now starting to think about tire wear and maybe wanting to make sure he can make it all the way to the
Wow.
ring.
His tires aren't that bad for them to be soft and it to be like Jorge obviously has a tire advantage as far as wear, but it's not that much off.
No, it's not. We see there he's already quicker on lap 3. KP is, and he is getting the benefit of that toe. And it looks like Banana's kind of fallen off the back of the two of them, allowing Talon and McNaughty. And as you pointed out, McNaughty did not go for that move going into Lacombe. So even though Talon went defensive, McNaughty not interested in sending it anytime soon.
Which is a brilliant strategy on McNaughty's part because, again, these MR cars have a big advantage in the rain, and I expect him to stay around and wait till he has the upper hand.
Shaggy Dude dives down the inside, yeah.
Oh, and he goes a little deep. Racer 51 now on the outside. Good. Racer 51 keeps his position.
Indeed. Shaggy doesn't seem to attack back. And, you know, it's surprising to see Racer 51 that far back. However, after seeing that start, he definitely got caught up. And something must have happened to Turbo down into, what was that, P12 now, trying to chase down Bobajito as we stay on board with the battle for P8. Shaggy Doo and a Jazam Racer 51 sandwich down the Camel Straight. It is fast. It is furious going in here. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Shaggy Doo getting the overtaken by Jazam, but no, he's later on the brakes. Jazam carrying a bit too much speed, and Shaggy's able to tuck back in, but you could see how powerful the toe going down that straight as Jazam just pulled past Shaggy.
Oh, definitely. Going up the Camel Straight is where you expect to see a lot of moves at. You know, that's the place where overtaking opportunities are abundant. I've had a very horrible, humble experience up the Camel Straight by Ronnie Haywood.
And something happened to McNaughty as he is going
McNaughty
slow.
In 8th place.
He is dropped back. He was on the bumper of Talon in 5th place, and let's see what happens. And now it does look like they're battling a little bit. And he just sticks his nose a little bumper to bumper action there, and unfortunately McNaughty ends up spinning out. And that I didn't see the move being on there, but I also don't know if Talon had thought he had cleared him. Do you have any thoughts on that replay we just saw?
You know, I think that's more of McNaughty's fault. I think he just stuck his nose in there a little too far, and it was just an unfortunate series of events for him.
I have to agree with that one. It looked like he thought he had something that he didn't.
And Jazam goes in a little bit on McNaughty there. Keep going, Pyro.
Yeah, I thought he thought that he'd be able to make an overtake there, and he didn't have what he thought he did. He didn't have the space that he thought was there. The door got closed, and it's a tough area that's a tough turn to overtake on that double left-hander anyway. So it's really dangerous. Now Jorge with almost a 3-second lead on someone with soft tires as well. Yes.
I wonder if either something happened to KP or if KP's thinking about fuel, because the pit stop here is really long. It is a very long pit stop, and so maybe a bit of fuel saving to minimize time in the pits could play out.
Can we go back to Jorge to see what his fuel looks like?
It's just a little worse, yeah.
They look identical, basically.
So I guess not. That theory gets thrown out the window as we see Banana now starting to get a little sniff of KP. Only a 1.5 seconds behind KP in a BMW sandwich here with bananas. So that's a good sandwich.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the NSX isn't exactly known for power. which shocks me. I don't know how Gallo does it every year in the NSX, but it's not exactly the easiest or fastest car on the grid.
Indeed, but it will have a slight advantage if he can wrangle it in the wet, I believe. And it looks like McNaughty now on the back of Shaggy, and this battle for 6th, 7th has been happening all evening. I thought by lap 5 we would have a bit more spread, but it doesn't look like anybody's solo. The only person semi-solo is Jorge, and he's really not that far ahead. As we come down here, I love this turn when you get it right. Can McNaughty stay in the dirty air? He does. He keeps it on track. We saw several cars. You can't tell if they got run wide or they just understeered or carried too much speed. I'm curious to see what tickets get created after this race. I feel like a lot of people were just trying to go side by side, going through that as we see them come down, starting lap 6, and you can see the sun's going down out there. I'm not seeing any rain clouds yet, so looking still pretty measured. We're about 12 minutes into this race as Shazam gets squeezed a little bit, but enough space was given, and he thinks better of it, backs out following Bobagito. Bobagito just not having a great race. Unfortunately, we know what he's capable of. We saw it in qualifying. And now Shazam is going to get a run, trying to get into the top 10 of the top split. And Shazam, that's the Citroen, right? That we're looking at?
Citroen.
He's the only one in it, and he's making it look good out there, that's for sure. Oh, no, and Slick with a half-second penalty. That's going to lose him at least 2 positions.
So we could definitely expect possibly even 3, because McNaughty's not too far off, is he?
He's up ahead, actually. And Shaggy Doo, also has a half-second penalty. The next up behind Shazam, I believe, is PHG Turbo. He's a good 4 or 5 seconds back there. McNaughty had the penalty, not Shaggy. So that is going to cause Shaggy to fall back. He'll definitely stay ahead of Slick, but it might be close enough for Bobagito to also take advantage. What it is going to do, guaranteed, is make the final chicane crazy as they all go into it, wanting to hold on. And look how quickly it has gotten dark out there. Headlights are on. Forgive us if we get the cars wrong, because it gets harder and harder to see out there. And it gets hard for those drivers. So still no rain coming up to serve their penalties, and that's Shaggy gets around. So he goes around the outside of McNaughty. Yes, Bobagito got ahead of Slick. Shazam got ahead of Slick. And now we have a new order, and Racer 51 staying comfortable in P6. We see the glow of the brake disc as they're hard on the brakes into the final chicane. And we go on board with KP, who has Banana less than a second as they go up Eau Rouge. That's close enough to really get drawn in, especially with the power, like you were saying, Pyro, of the BMW, right?
Yeah, I mean, the BMW has great power, but it's more so the lack of power in the Honda. In the Honda.
Indeed.
I think Banana may be in for a great race.
Yeah, he really is. And you can see the tire wear
being on the mediums. Yeah. Yep. So they're going to have more laps available than KP if the rain doesn't come soon.
And at the pace they're going, I think they will most likely get one more lap on the slicks than some of the drivers further back, who will end up with the rain will kind of come in between their opportunities to pit, which is going to further this top group's advantage from the rest of the field. So they're locked in for a battle for P3. Wade, a little over 5 seconds off, is still in it for sure. Talon 2.3 seconds behind Wade. So they're all in and putting in pretty consistent lap times. You saw those top guys were in the 220s, 219s. We see some 221s here, some 220s further back on Racer 51. in the Mazda. Then we have 7, 8, and 9. Shaggy Doo leading that train. McNaughty back into P8, and he was up into P5. And series of unfortunate events puts him back as he has a little wiggle, and that's going to put Bobagito all over the back of McNaughty. And this is going to be another opportunity. Will Bobagito brave it around the outside? Will McNaughty lead the space? No. Oh, yes. Bobagito's going for it. He tucked in for as long as he could. He's going to go. They're going to go side by side. Can he hold on, keep it on the track? He does, but McNaughty keeps it pinned as well. Leaves him enough space, and great driving by the two of them to not make contact there and to keep it on the track. Is that what you were expecting? Yeah. Were you expecting to see
driving.
that?
I expect to see excellent driving by Bobagito, but I expect right now Bobagito is the worst thing that any person on the track wants to see in their rearview mirror, because he went from second place into, what did he drop back to, 15th?
Yeah,
so,
all the way in the back.
So right now Bobagito has to drive like a desperate man.
Yep, as
So
Banana now able to make a move. He goes
On
purple,
KP.
tries to go around the outside. No, has to cut back. He keeps the pressure on. Nowhere to go. KP putting his car in the perfect position, going through Lacombe. And he's going to have to try again next lap as we're coming in on 17 minutes, lap 8. It is definitely dark out there. We can't see the radar, but I imagine some weather is starting to show up on the radar.
You know, I'm surprised that I haven't seen any bump drafting yet.
Yeah, we really haven't seen
by
it.
that.
You're right.
We expected a lot of teamwork to help get these machines around this track faster, but we haven't seen any, which is surprising to me.
Yeah, no teamwork. Do you have the same feelings as that, Oak, or do you think everybody's just working individually out there?
Yeah, everybody's just working individually. I don't really see any team game, even by the CBR drivers. I haven't seen any type of
yeah, indeed.
working
As
together.
Bobagito gets a half-second penalty. Yeah, it kind of seemed like once the race started and we had that chaos at the beginning, it became every man for himself, and they all just went for it. As Bobagito also on the softs, we didn't realize that either. Bobagito on the softs, I can't imagine him going another lap, but from what I know about practice, the rain is coming at any moment. We might see this group of drivers diving in the pits as KP has had enough of the softs. KP is in the pits. We're going to have to wait and see if he comes out on the wets or the intermediates, or does he get one lap on the hards out of the way? That could be a strategy. As he comes around, we'll see what it is. Yes, Racer 51 in the pits as well.
I would like to point out Moose 21, pointing out the obvious here. Guys on the soft tires are praying.
They want that rain to come. McNaughty making the long stint on the soft, so he looked at the radar. He said it's not time for wets yet, but those softs are warned, though they don't look as bad. That front right seems to fare better than some of the other drivers we've seen, but the bottom left tire is definitely low, as we see some rain on the windshield. Nothing on the moisture meter yet. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there is a meter, and we'll see it start to fill up. That lets us know how moist the track is, as McNaughty sets a purple first sector, even on those worn tires, which is pretty impressive.
And no slipstream from Shaggy Doo as well, which is very interesting. McNaughty worked his way back up in the P6, which is impressive on its own.
Indeed.
He also happens to be 28 seconds behind first place Jorge.
Yep, and Bobagito stayed out as well. Yeah.
Jorge's standing out, and I think he's making a statement here, saying it doesn't matter who comes in this race, this is my league. Even though BMW is in second place. I had to throw that shot out there, being a Genesis driver myself.
Indeed. Yeah, he's definitely dominating. We see the windshield wiper on, the moisture meter still on the slick, but with times 30 and 10 miles an hour winds, or 10 feet per second winds, that is quick moving weather. So we're going to see everyone who stayed out go ahead and dive into the pits. That's going to be Jorge. That's going to be Banana. Wade on the softs, desperate to get off those tires. Talon on the mediums, plenty of life left. Shaggy Dew on the mediums, and whoa, it is wet. It is officially intermediate level in that middle third. And if it gets above that, as we see, was that McNaughty? Just misses braking on those worn softs. Can he get back? Oh, no, Shazam! Shazam as well. Everybody behind. Oh, my goodness. JK, is Velvet going to make it?
Look at the moisture meter now.
It is up to full wets, as we just saw 4 cars miss the braking completely, and you see that in real life all the time. Everybody in the pits. Let's see if we can see that again. Here comes McNaughty. He wants to get on the brakes.
Traction control on as well.
No grip, and he just slides. It's like he's on ice, and he even does come in contact with the wall. Bobagito trying to get in the pits, can't make it up the hill. Then Wade, or that's JK, and Velvet Thunder, though, beautifully tiptoed. Excuse me, Bobagito, thank you for ghosting, and makes up several positions. So good on Velvet Thunder there, keeping it under control. Jorge Sr. coming out on the full wets, keeping his lead. Then we have Banana, Wade, and Talon. So the drivers who boxed early doesn't seem to be paying off for them. That outlap on the wet tires must be rough. Did we lose KP? Or did he just fall that far down?
No, I don't believe we lost them because they're still showing 15 positions up there. So
okay, so yeah, he was one of those drivers that boxed early, and it did not pay off for him. And lap in the dry on wet tires is not fun.
Absolutely not.
But is it worse than what we just saw? All those drivers crashing out.
Do we know?
He's back in P15.
What tire KP boxed? He boxed on the wet. He ran a lap.
Yep, on those wets and
wow.
Yep, and it shows back into P15. Yeah, a couple other drivers went in as well, and he must have had an incident. Either not getting the traction he wanted, because there was a couple other drivers behind him who boxed, and he was ahead of them. So we see a bit of a shakeup there. We've got Shaggy Dew now in P5. He chose the intermediates, which is an interesting choice because it is really wet, but he is using the assists and is on controller, so it does make a difference there. And is in the MR car, which is beneficial as well. But you can just see how heavy the rain is. If these drivers have their headphones in, it's also very loud as the driver, and he's not even worried about running on those curbs. No issue there. It's going to be an issue when the dry line starts to appear once this rain stops eventually. But we're going to see it.
We'll see what happens with Shaggy, but he is cheating. So, he knows exactly what's going to happen when it's going to happen.
And I think we had a idea of KP probably did. He was on the softs. I imagine he maybe out on the hards and then came back in for the wets, because we never saw what tire he originally came out on. So if he boxed twice, that would have make sense why he's further back, as he now is able to get past Vetterdan and march up.
If he did that, we'll see how that works out. This may be quite interesting if that's what took place there.
But I don't know how it could work to his advantage, except for him come out on the softs at the end and be the last in on the softs. But is it, or on? Yeah, it'll be.
If he did run a lap on, wait, I don't think he boxed twice. I'm not sure.
Okay, so he just had an incident out there on the wets and the dry.
We can figure it out based on the outcome, based on what tire he
finishes on.
he finishes on, yeah. Or if he
Absolutely.
boxes again for.
And interesting to know, Bobagito doesn't look like he really took fuel. So he's definitely not going to make it to the
halfway,
end.
Yeah, he still has half a tank.
Half a tank, and we got definitely more than half a
Unless
race. So
unless he's fuel saving. But I don't see that. I don't see that working out really good for Bobagito.
He either took no fuel that pit stop or just a splash to then leapfrog himself up ahead a little bit more, so that in his final pit stop he'll have to get at least half a tank, if not more, of fuel added. But it does lighten the car as we look back at Velvet Thunder, who did get fuel and has 3/4 of a tank there.
But we
Velvet
also
Thunder.
I'll continue. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We also know that you use a lot less fuel in the rain than you do normally. So maybe, Bobagito calculated that correctly. It's possible. Is it likely? Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to pit again. So there's definitely another opportunity to refill as Shazam now applying pressure to Turbo and getting the position on Turbo.
He has a lot more faith in Turbo in those wets. And then we have KP moving up again.
Absolutely.
So KP with 2 overtakes now.
The Turbo definitely took quite a bit of fuel. He's almost got a full tank there.
But KP's also a minute behind the lead. So this is something very interesting took place with KP, and we haven't quite figured it out yet.
No, we have not. And at least in these very wet conditions, the drivers on the intermediates are probably going to be running a little bit slower, but it looks like most drivers are on the wets. Like you said, Jorge, a minute out front of his P2 starting position competitor, with Banana not far behind, 8.5 seconds behind in P2. And then we got Wade CBR 5 seconds behind him, 7.5 seconds ahead of Talon. So it's spread out a bit at the front. Talon bringing up the rear of that group, only 21 seconds off of Jorge. So really just a spin away from gaining several, depending on who spins. And then we got Shaggy Doo in P5 with still a good gap on Racer 51. Shaggy again on the enters, Racer 51 on the mediums. I can only imagine that Mazda is a handful in the wet. It's a handful in the dry. Racer 51 coming. Definitely are seeing the assist turned on. I don't know if any of these drivers are willing to brave this without anything, but we saw some of that in qualifying. McNaughty, what a roller coaster for McNaughty, back into P7. He's been all over the place. Bobagito not too far behind, and Slick really on the tails of Bobagito. The spray is pretty intense around here, and it looks like, is Slick going to run wide? I don't think he does. He keeps it on the track. Well done to Slick. Looking on the onboard, you can see the windshield wipers going, and really the lack of visibility these drivers have. It's really distracting. One thing I do like, though, is you do get to see the tire lines from the drivers in front of you, giving you an indication. And oh no, he's a little too late on the brakes, but he keeps it on the track, crucially keeping it on the track. That's going to allow Velvet Thunder to creep up on him, but still a pretty good gap. And getting on the throttle right there is so tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky. But, one thing that may be beneficial to him, that may have saved him from having a complete accident, is off the racing line is a little bit better in the wet.
Indeed. I did notice there's a little more grip kind of in the middle of the track and a little bit on the outside of the corners, as Shazam luckily only isn't losing his position because KP also served a penalty, and then Turbo following up them in P14. Shazam into the chicane, and did KP go a little deep? KP went a little deep, but
it may not have been detrimental to him.
Yeah, and with that big spotlight there, it makes the spray look kind of crazy and makes things look like they're a little bit wilder than than they actually are. As we see Vetterdan there in the background in the Corvette, which actually drives pretty well in the rain. But
Are we frozen? Is that
nope, there we go. I just had to click and unclick it. And now it's back on it. So there we go. Sorry about that, y'all. Velvet Thunder
it's
NP10.
I'm just happy because I was going to say I spend way too much money on my internet. I have connection issues.
No, it's Discord. That's what Discord does. But hey, it's free, right?
True indeed.
And I don't think I've driven the Viper in the wet. Have either of you?
I've only driven the Viper on one occasion, and that was for the daily race B at Daytona. I've never driven the Viper in the wet, so I'm not familiar with if it's good in the wet. As we start to see sunlight,
here comes the sun, and you can see that moisture meter on the left is only at halfway now, so it is definitely calming down out there. I imagine in the next couple laps, as we are halfway finished with this race, I imagine in the next couple laps we'll start to see, well, you can actually already start to see a dry line forming there.
We'll also start to see the guys in the intermediate tires start running faster laps. That's something that we will start to see as well. And the wets would fall off. I wonder if anyone will pit from wets to intermediates. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but you know, we make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, and the pit loss here is just too much, I think, for any extra pit stops. I think you got to be full. I think you'll lose more time doing that than staying out on the wrong tire, unless you just completely lose it. So yeah,
Well,
it'll be a bravery check to see who is confident to stay on the correct line.
Well, we will find out when we find out exactly what happened with KP, if an extra pit stop worked or if he didn't take an extra pit stop.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
McNaughty and P7 applying pressure to Racer 51, both moving over to where it is more wet on the track to keep those wets cool. They are definitely better in the wet than they are the dry, so we'll start to see awkward lines happening now as it dries out. And the sun is up. The headlights will be turning off soon. There's no more rain falling. The windshield wipers are off.
And there they go. They
time.
just turned off. The lights just turned off. But you know what? This is something that I think that we should keep an eye on between McNaughty and Racer 51. Just because I expect, I know that they're kind of rivals here. So I expect the move to be made sometime soon between the two. I don't believe they, are. I believe there was a shakeup in one of the races and some things happened that were questioned. I didn't check the outcome of it, like with the stewards.
Right. There's definitely a little drama between the two on the racetrack.
A little heat. We have Jorge in the pits now. Let's see what tire Jorge comes out on.
No, he started on the medium, so he needs to use the hards.
Yep. And then now we have Banana and Wade both, and I wonder if they'll come out. If they come out on the hards, this is going to be.
I'm trying to think of what drivers started on the hards, because it's definitely a longer, and they both dive into the pits there.
Anyone? I didn't see anyone.
No one starting on the hards.
Turbo started on the hards.
Turbo on the hards, so he could pull out something, either switch to the mediums. I doubt he can make the softs last, as JK runs a bit deep and stays out on the track. A lot of drivers staying out, not confident in the track conditions. Slick back down into P15. No, he is on his outlap. So he
already
boxed
on
really
dries.
early. He's on the mediums.
Shaggy in first place now.
What is going on?
Shaggy's a
Interesting.
cheater. Shaggy's
So
a
Shaggy
cheater.
stayed out. Shaggy stayed out. So he's doing one more lap on the inters. He boxed for inters, not wets, which will do better as you can see him taking slightly different lines through these corners. He can
And-
still abuse the curbs, which these
And he's
drivers on the
also
slick tires.
13 seconds in front of Jorge.
So this, I mean, I think Jorge will definitely end up overtaking, obviously because of the pit, but that could leapfrog Shaggy up a few positions.
And Jorge's on the hard tire now with this condition of track. Hopefully Jorge can keep it on track because it's still a very wet track right now.
It really is. Oak, did you do any practice on the drying track, or what's your experience trying to keep it on that dry line and slick tires?
I did a few laps on this type of condition. It's just really important not trying to run deep or anything because that'll really mess you up.
Yeah, if you hit that wet spot, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And not abusing the curbs either. Those curves really get you.
It becomes a point where you have to. It is imperative that you stay on the dry line because if you get so much as the tire on a wet portion of the track, last place you go.
Yep. Indeed, that happened to me in practice last night. Vetterdan opting to do the same strategy as Shaggy do on the intermediates. He was running in last place at one point. Seeing him cool off the tires as he's finishing this lap. We'll see. Shaggy Doo's about to come into the pits, and Vetterdan will definitely pit. Then Jorge Sr. will take the lead back, Banana back into P2, and then it's just a matter of time to see if it works out for Jazam, Wade, and Turbo.
I don't think
who will
Shaggy
lead the
went in
pit.
the pits. I think
He
Shaggy
stayed out again. Shaggy stayed out again as we see several other drivers jump into the pits. Jazam, who was on the wets, Turbo on the wets. They will be boxing, I would imagine, for softs or mediums because they have 10 laps left to go. And
I think
Shaggy
JP
may be
got,
running a masterclass here.
interesting. What was that, Oak?
I think JP got disconnected again.
Oh no.
Yes, he did. There's 14 drivers there.
That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
I didn't even
Shaggy,
notice that.
yeah, Shaggy staying out, doing another lap on the inters. That's just wild. McNaughty on the hard tires. I imagine a lot of these drivers will be on the hard since so many started on softs or mediums, and the hard is required. The hard is the only required tire. And that is pretty spread out there now. Bobagito in P8, Velvet Thunder in P9. On the racing hards, yep, both drivers, Racer 51 and Slick not too far behind Racer 51. Maybe Shaggy's just going for bonus points on some lead laps there. He won't get most laps led, but he'll definitely get a lap led bonus point for sure.
Maybe.
But he was doing good. That's a pretty big gamble just for 5 points. As we see, looks like Slick trying to get around Racer 51, and that's another thing with the track drying out like this. It's pretty dry in the middle, but anytime you go out wide, you lose grip, and so overtaking becomes very difficult in these drying conditions.
Did Shaggy start on the hard tires?
That's a great question. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
You know what? I'm going to do something. I've been cheating myself. I'm going to rewind the screen to find out what tires Shaggy
Yeah,
started.
what on earth were you doing, Shaggy? Because he's still on the
Shaggy
enters.
Shaggy started on medium tires.
Okay, so he's still got to use the hards, and you would imagine hards in this condition would be better than intermediates in this condition. However, maybe Shaggy just doesn't feel confident to risk it as far as the risk of a spin out, because the risk of a spin out is bad. It is very, very easy to do.
This reminds me of the charity race in the Group 2 cars at Monza, where Shaggy finished in first place, even though he didn't have the pace. Shaggy's actually up. So Shaggy was 11 seconds in front of Jorge, and now he's 12 seconds in front of Jorge.
Wow. This is interesting.
Down to 11 again. I think Shaggy is a strategy cheat.
Now I wish I was racing tomorrow. So no, and this is what we were talking about. It's exactly what we were talking about. As Jorge touches the wet, and now he's having trouble keeping it.
Now.
Ooh, and that's banana through.
In front. Oh,
he's now 20 seconds off. Take us through what happened here, Pyro.
So it looks as though he hit the curb. And
curb on exit.
And if you look at the moisture meter, once it went from dry tires to him hitting it and it being full wet tires. So that's the risk you run on a track like Spa, where the runoff is so big. It's just very difficult to drive, especially hard tires on this track, because it's extremely important to use the entire track. I tell Papa this all the time. Use the entire track. Yep. It's horrible that advice isn't good when it comes to racing in the rain. Mm-hmm. When you're racing in the rain, your car has to be on a track, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Your car has to be on railed.
Yep. And that's exactly what Shaggy didn't want to risk. As you see Shaggy in the pit.
Extremely precise.
Yeah.
And I really wonder what tires I expect Shaggy to come out on either the mediums or the softs and run his final lap on the hard tire.
Maybe go for fast. Maybe go for fastest lap for a little extra there as well. Well, we're gonna find out as we get the longest pit exit coming around. The pit entry is really long too, because you have to come around to the backside for the 24-hour layout. He's on the hard, so he's not stopping again. But wasn't he already in P5? So it worked out for him and played it safe. He might have fresher tires come the end of the race. He definitely didn't risk as much as Jorge, because Jorge did lose a position. Federdan,
is he staying on intermediates?
Surely not. It takes a while to get around and out. We'll see.
Captain Howdy says the hard tires are the best on a drying track.
Interesting. Federdan on the softs, coming out of the pits, as Velvet Thunder is applying a good amount of pressure to Bobagito. Velvet Thunder, aka Tussenbox, is a very quick driver, and Jorge has caught back up to Banana. So unbelievable, spins out and is now less than 2 seconds behind Banana.
I have to say, man, I think everyone watching this needs to leave a like. This is an amazing race.
Indeed.
We have 57 people watching this right now. This is amazing.
Yes, you guys are getting treated to an excellent race. And this isn't the only race tonight. We have one more after this, and then 3 more tomorrow, believe it or not.
And this has been a drama-filled event.
It really has. This whole season has.
Duncan, this is amazing. Unfortunately, I missed the last 2 races. I was helping my mother move. But this is you're more than welcome, Jason. You're more than welcome.
Indeed. Shout out to the PHG crew. There's a lot of people involved. You got myself, Pyro, Oak in here, but there's a lot more people. As we take a look at a replay with Talon, And does he get a little wide? Touches the wet. Keeps. Oh, who is that in front? That is Wade goes
Wade.
wide. And that is easy to do. That happened to me last night in my practice on that very same corner in the drying conditions. So moves Talon up into the podium, or no, into P4, but Wade gets back by him.
Yeah, I think Wade may have expected that he can go flat out there, which is not a good idea. And the dry line on the track appears to be completely dry, 100%. There's no moisture on the meter whatsoever on the dry line.
Indeed. So if you can keep it perfect, you can, for the most part, run your race. However, like you were saying earlier, you still have to be wary of the curbs as we're seeing them start to take a little more curb there. There's definitely more passing room as we see Talon think about going up the inside, thinks better of it, follows Wade through this long, slow right-hander, back on the throttle as we come into this left-hander here. There's not really a good overtaking opportunity until the end of the lap. So we're going to see if Talon can get through mistake-free or hope that Wade makes another crucial error as they come into the double left-hander. Really tricky in these conditions because you would typically want to use some curb. That's where we saw Jorge Sr. Lose it as Talon does take another peek up the inside but thinks better of it, tucks back into the chicane. Gonna follow him through. We got two right-handers and a couple lefts before the next overtaking spot. As we look at Banana now 7 seconds off of Jorge Sr. Jorge Sr. is flying now 7 seconds ahead of Banana. Keep in mind, y'all, the dude spun.
Yeah,
Nothing might have happened.
but he doesn't have to stop again either.
Yep, he is on the hards, keeping it to the end. Let's see where Talon is. Half a second off of Wade, but he runs a little wide, but keeps it on the track. Can he be late on the brakes? Maybe make a late lunge? No, I think he's going to wait till Lacombe. He's going to... Oh, but Wade goes deep. Talon now on the outside, compromising the exit, but he might get a better exit here down into T1. Can Talon make it happen before they even get to a Rouge? Let's see what happens here. Talon looks up the inside. Maybe Wade goes deep again, and he does. Talon pokes his nose up the inside. He's going to get a good run. He's going to get the slipstream and going into what is probably the most favorable overtaking spot into the chicane at Lacombe. Up Eau Rouge, can they keep it on the dry line? This is also an easy spot to spin it. You can run wide and get on the wet stuff, but as you were saying, Pyro, it is dry, but Talon now 7/10 off. He is in the slipstream, but he's not gaining as much as he should, or as much as he would like to. As we look back now at Velvet Thunder and Bobagito able to get by Velvet Thunder, and Velvet Thunder was behind him already, but Velvet Thunder keeping the pressure on Bobagito as they go down the Camel Straight.
These drivers still have to be careful in these conditions.
Yeah, it's still that they're still not in the clear. You're right, Oak, and that is what is making this overtaking still a challenge, because getting off that racing line is a risk, and getting on the curbs is definitely a risk.
And you know what else is a very big risk here? Overconfidence.
Yep.
Overconfidence in the fact that the track may not be as dry as you think it is.
Yep, and it just takes one step wrong, one toe out of place, and you're spinning. And it is you do start to, because you're so cautious at the start of the drying and your precision, and then you start to relax and you get in the flow. And then as we see Talon run, oh nope, that was just a bit of netcode. He's good. Talon staying on the bumper of Wade, now under half a second. Wade in the Sharkmobile, chugging down the back here in the final sector. Can he keep it pinned? And slight lift. He runs a little wide, a little wiggle there. That's going to put him off foot a little bit. Now Talon does send the lunge down the inside. It is going to put him on the outside here. Can Wade keep it in on the track, and who can get on the throttle quicker? Wade able to stay ahead. Good clean driving side by side through the chicane is not easy.
And one thing I'm noticing was who's still on traction control? I see Wade still using traction control.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wade's definitely still using traction control, which is going to slow him down just a bit coming out of the corners. But
especially T1 or the final corner for sure.
Yeah, but I don't really expect it to affect him too much because that Ferrari is just so good on acceleration. So good. One thing I always say is, as far as FR cars go, I think the Genesis has the best acceleration out of all of the FR cars, but it doesn't hold a candle to the Ferrari. And we have side-by-side action.
Side-by-side again, and Talon takes the lead, or not the lead, but the position. Indeed, very nicely done, getting a better exit out of the chicane and able to secure the inside. And now, as you can see, who's that in the background? That's Shaggy Dooster. Yes, sir. He's coming on the hards, roaring. Did a completely different strategy, and now he is on fresher tires. Not much fresher, but they are fresher, and he minimized his risk. So keep playing it safe and playing it smart is allowing him to catch up. And the more that Talon and Wade battle, the more it brings Shaggy into play. And we're only, what is that, 4 laps away from the end of this race. Jorge Sr. finishing his 21st lap. Looking good and looking smooth. Look how consistent his lap times were. Banana NP2 has caught up a bit on Jorge. Only 5 seconds, or closer to 6 seconds. And then 20 seconds back, we still have this battle for P3 with Talon and Wade. And Shaggy Doo not far behind. And in P6 is McNaughty having the roller coaster of a race. He's been up, he's been down. And he's now in P6 in the Lamborghini. Bobagito CBR. Velvet Thunder had momentarily gotten by Bobagito, but clearly Bobagito able to get back ahead as they come into the chicane here. Velvet Thunder thinking around the outside because that's going to put me on the inside. Is he going to be left space? Can he get on the throttle? What a move.
But Bobagito's going to be on the inside for this final turn.
Absolutely. Take us through it, Pyro.
All right, so we have Velvet pulling out a little bit. We have Bobagito on the inside. And you know what? Velvet Thunder is able to maintain the position, which is great driving by Velvet Thunder. But
yeah, that was really good driving and clean and good. Wait for him to just close the door.
But I think we should go back to Bobagito and Velvet Thunder because they're at the Camel Straight, so...
Yeah, and he's only half a second.
Oh wow, that Viper just pulled away, which is shocking because it pulled away in the slipstream.
Yeah, that is impressive.
It had the Genesis in the slipstream. You pulled away.
Yep, not able to keep him off. And P9 was Racer 51, and then we have Vetterdan P10, who did also do that same strategy as Shaggy. And at one point, Vetterdan was all the way in the back, so up into P10. Jazam in P11, followed by JKCBR, and then we have PHG Turbo P13. And it looks like Slick went in the pits again. Maybe he's done. He's had enough.
Yeah, he's been in the pit for 5 minutes and counting. He's finished.
Yeah, and this race will do it. The number of people I see quit from the practice lobbies is any indication. This race will wear you out and make you not want to play anymore. But not these guys. Talon now pulling away from Wade, and that has brought Wade into the clutches of Shaggy. So now Shaggy wanting that P4, Talon firm up into P3, almost a full second ahead of Wade. Now he is a second ahead of Wade, and Wade's got to start driving in his mirrors because Shaggy, he sends it up the inside. It's going to put him on the outside. He thinks about the cutback. We got Ferrari versus Ferrari. That was a
Shaggy with the switcheroo there.
Textbook switcheroo. Indeed, Pyro. Doesn't get much better than that. And you saw it. He went, and then he backed out and said, you're going to be off the line, and I will take that position gladly.
But we'll see how this works out on... Are they in the same car?
They are. They're both in the Ferrari. Shaggy on fresher tires.
So Ferrari picking up quite a few points here in this one.
Quite a few points.
Yeah, that's good for them. That's great for them actually. Because again, being that it's a series, you know, a win is not always as important as the points are. So just getting as many points for the manufacturer as possible works out.
Indeed.
I wonder if we'll start to see them work together or if they'll continue fighting. I expect them to continue fighting because it's CBR versus
Yep.
PHG
I would think so as well. It would be cool to see, a little crossover there, a little teamwork, but I would say unlikely. As Velvet Thunder back ahead of CBR, these two, or no, he's still ahead of CBR. Bobagito there. And Bobagito staying in touch with that Viper, who clearly has the top end on the straights, and we know the Genesis is fast, but man, Velvet Thunder making that Viper look good, not just with that black and purple, but also with his driving, as Bobagito now all over the back of him, but again, nowhere to really overtake at the moment, maybe hoping for a mistake as he continues to apply the pressure, definitely filling up Velvet Thunder's mirrors. That is for sure. The battle for P7 is on, so we only have about 2.5 laps left. Maybe we'll see another move going into the chicane, followed by a T1 battle.
It appears the track is including the runoff is complete dry here now as well. We see Bobagito using a lot more of the track.
Indeed,
so
and Shaggy,
that's a good sign, as well as Shaggy as well.
Yeah, Shaggy also catching up to Talon now, putting Talon under threat. Could we see Shaggy up into P3? It's going to be an epic battle as they start the penultimate lap. Velvet Thunder keeps ahead of Bobagito. Bobagito going to have to hope he gets something into Lacombe, and they're battling. Has brought Racer 51 into the picture there in the background, driving that Mazda. I wonder if they can hear the Mazda over their engines, or they're still so focused on what they're doing as we come around T1 of the penultimate lap, down the hill. And this is such a fun part of the track to do, but it's so hard to battle through here. You got to get it right, both drivers. The driver behind has a little bit of leeway because he's going to get the tow, but you really want to maximize your exit here as he is well within striking distance. I think we'll see Velvet Thunder go defensive as he hugs the inside down the Camel Straight. No, he cuts back across onto the racing line. Bobagito tries to follow. Is he going to try to be late on the brakes? No, he continues to follow him through, and it seems to be content to just hold it back there, maybe hoping more for a mistake, a forced error.
And Bobagito is right on his bumper.
Yep.
Velvet Thunder's got to be feeling the pressure right now. He's got to be feeling the pressure. These guys have been locked in for about 7 laps. They got to be feeling the pressure.
Doing that lap after lap with somebody behind you. Oh no, as Shaggy has a half a second penalty for Shaggy as he's so close to Talon. He's going to drop back into Wade's clutches. I don't know that it'll be enough for Wade to overtake, but Bobagito as well, really applying pressure. Oak, you were saying how impressed you were with this Viper. Do you think he's going to be able to hold him off?
I've driven with Tuzum and I raced with him in IRO, and he's a very quick driver. I spoke to him before this race, I think yesterday. I asked him why he chose the Viper, and he was just to represent. So I'm seriously impressed with what he's been able to do with this car. He's a very fast driver as well.
There we go. Bobagito trying to go around the outside. He's got the speed from the slip. Can he keep it on the track? No, he's got to tuck back in behind Velvet Thunder. Is he going to have an opportunity here for a lunge? Nope. Everybody just kind of keeps in check. So maybe they're going to keep it for the final lap battle for P7 is on, and it looks like
Bobagito has to be focused on the exit of turn 1. If he stands a chance, he has to be focused on the exit of turn 1.
Yep. Here he goes, and he's there back on the throttle. He's right on the back of him. looks like he doesn't quite get as good of a run as we see Shaggy able to hold on to P4 and improve on his time, or as Talon improves his time, and he reels Talon back in. So that's after a half a second penalty. He keeps it within a second of Talon. This is very impressive, as it's almost nighttime again.
Cheeto with the penalty. Wow. Half a second. That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. I wonder if he took Eau Rouge badly because of dirty air.
Yeah, he must have, because he went purple that sector, and that's with a half second penalty and going purple. That's usually an indication that Eau Rouge did not go well. As they come around, but he's going for it. He's going for it. Around the outside, no, he tucks back in. He would love to be able to get ahead a little bit just to help out with not falling into Racer 51, following behind them, as I guess he's going to try to send it up the inside. That's where we saw contact earlier between Talon and McNaughty, but they kept it clean, no contact whatsoever.
Bobachito pulls off the move, although it's not really going to matter much.
As we see Jorge across the line with the dominant victory after the spin, followed by PHG Banana moving up one position, and Talon holding on to P3 so far, but it is not over. We have 2 more corners to go. What is going to happen here as he's on the brakes? Shaggy following up, just hoping for an exit. Could we get a drag race to the start-finish line? No. Shaggy a little squirrely behind. That's going to be Talon P3, Shaggy P4, Wade in P5. Then McNaughty
P6.
Yes, after his roller coaster of a race, he had contact early on. Velvet Thunder in P7, able to hold off Bobachito. Bobachito serving that penalty. Sure enough, Racer 51 all over the back of him, but not able to get it done as they try to get on the power. Then we have PHG Vetterdan in P10 coming across the line. Then we have Jazam coming down into the final chicane. I see JK85 and PHG Turbo not too far behind them, coming into these final turns, getting across the line. That's Jazam P11 and JK P12. And then bringing up the rear is PHG Turbo, who qualified for Split 2, but got promoted up to Top Split, rounding out the racers. And of course, we had Slick calling it a day in the pits. Wow, that was a great race. I'm realizing at this moment that I'm about to do that same race, and I'm not so sure anymore of what I'm gonna do.
Jorge racked up quite a lot of points there. He ran an amazing race. So he's going to get all the points for finishing in first place. He's going to get the points for fastest lap. He's going to get points for holding a lap. He's going to get points for leading a lap.
Yep.
He's going to get points for most laps led. What a race by Jorge. And, you know, it's going to take something amazing for someone to take driver of the day from him.
That is incredible. Agreed. Oak, do you mind reading us through what happened, or our final standings at this race?
Okay, so we've got Jorge Sr. in the BMW M6 going first overall and taking the fastest lap by quite a margin. In second place, we've got PHG Banana. In third place, we have Talon in the GTR Nismo. In fourth place, we have a surprising Shaggy Doo in the Ferrari. We have in fifth place Wade CBR, also in the Ferrari. In sixth place, we have McNaughty in the Lamborghini. In seventh place, we have Velvet Thunder or Tuzenbach in the Viper SRT, sorry. Excuse me. In eighth, we have Bobachito in the Genesis. In ninth place, we have Racer 51 in the RX Vision Concept. In 10th place, we have Vetterdan in the Corvette C7. In 11th, we have Jazam in the Citroen. In 12th place, we have JK85 CBR in the Lamborghini. In 13th, we have PHG Turbo in the 911 RSR. In 14th, we have Slick in the Ferrari. And 15th, we have KP Wilcox with a DNF, unfortunately.
Unfortunate indeed. Wow, what a race, gentlemen. That was incredible. I'm a bit nervous now for my race. Real quick before we go to break, I'm gonna say my driver of this race is gonna be Talon. He started P9. Finishes on the podium. Very incredible. Took advantage of the chaos at the start. Pyro, your driver of the race, and any other thoughts you had of what we just saw?
Again, it's hard for me to vote anyone else driver of the day when one driver, particularly one driver, dominated in the fashion that he did, especially after having the mishap that he did. So I'm gonna have to to go to Jorge. There isn't any other choice for me.
That is a great point. You are absolutely correct. He did lost that lead, and somehow managed to keep it going. Oak, how about you, man? What's your driver of the race, and any thoughts of what we saw?
You know, I'm seriously impressed by Shaggy going stretching out those intermediates.
Yeah.
I forgot what place he started in, but I know he made up quite a few places. I'm seriously impressed by what he's been able to do in this race specifically.
He started P6.
Okay, so this it's still pretty good. I'm also impressed with Banana. He held it pretty good. You know, he was able to hold his second place for the entirety of the race. So I think that's a pretty good result for him. And
Absolutely.
especially BMW, a front row lockout.
Yeah, that's good for your team. You weren't able to make this split, but Team BMW looking strong, looking really strong out there at this race, which I didn't really expect in these conditions, but really great job to all the drivers. That was incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. We have another race coming up. We're going to get a new crew in here. One of the drivers from last race, Tussenbox, aka Velvet Thunder, he'll be in here. We got Pyro and I believe Leo coming in, and myself and Oak are going to go do this next race with a couple other of the production crew and C-Dubs, and we got Papa in that race as well. So it's going to be a really good one. Real quick, let's cover those YouTube things. Y'all just saw something incredible. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you want to find out more information about this league, or PHG, which stands for Papa's House of Game, click on the link pinned in the chat. It'll take you to the website and give you all the information you needed. And if that's it, we were going to take a break. Pyro and I are going to get out of here and get our race suits on and get ready.
Oh no, I'm not racing.
Not Pyro. I'm sorry, Oak. I
Yeah.
got you guys flip-flopped. Oak getting in there with me. Pyro, you're racing tomorrow, second split.
Yeah, my return has been horrible.
I'll let you guys say goodbye. Pyro, are you sticking around for this next race, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Pyro's not saying goodbye, but Oak is saying goodbye. I'll let you say goodbye to the fans out there.
Goodbye, everyone in chat. Wish me luck in the in this race with TKs. You know, let's see how it all ends. I'm excited.
Good
after
luck,
watching the first race. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Pyro.
I'll try to follow you the best I can. It's going to be a good one. Well, thank you all. That is it for me. I'm going to go do this race and call it a night. We're going to bring Tussum and Leo in here, and we will be back in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. Please come back.
Engines roaring life in the fast lane. PHG weaving people. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Great racers, better people. Crowds chant as the lights go green. Adrenaline rush, it's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Better people. Oh, baby. Better people. The engine's roaring alive in the fast lane. PHG, we the name, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, ain't looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Team strong, bonds like no other. Brothers, sisters, ain't no undercover. Victory sweet, but honor even sweeter. Every race together makes the fight deeper. Crowds chant as the lights go green. Adrenaline rush, it's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Great racers, better people. Crowds chant.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PHG World Series. This is round 5 of season 2, and we are at Spa. I'll be your lead commentator today, Tuzzenbox, aka Velvet Thunder. And joining me for this second race is Leo and PHG Pyro. Let's say hello to Leo first.
Hey everybody, what's up? Fantastic race we just had. I can't wait to see what these guys do in Split 3. And I'm just excited to be here.
All right, and PHG Pyro. How are you doing tonight?
I'm back again. And you know what? This is going to be a very interesting race. Just like the first one, except now we have someone that has already done this race and has some experience doing this race and can tell us a little bit more, give us a better insight on what's going on. So thanks for joining us, man. Well, thanks for having us, rather.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to be here. The last race was pretty crazy. We'll go over that a little bit later. But first thing we're going to do is going to do a quick recap of today's race. Leo, you want to take us through?
Yeah, sure. We are at Spa, the 24-hour layout, 25 laps, 3 times tire wear. Hards are required, but other tires are usable. 3 times fuel. In any Group 3 car that these guys have qualified with, and that is their manufacturer, so they have to stick with the vehicle that they have qualified with.
All right, now we're going to go through the list of our Split 3 drivers. Pyro, could you run us through the list?
Yes, we have RSR Pablo in the Lamborghini starting, well, I'm not going to say where they're starting because they still have to run their laps. We have RSR Zilla in the Lamborghini. We have Naranjo in the BMW. We have PHG C-Dubs in the Genesis. And Papa, the proprietor of PHG in McLaren. We have TK, who is just commentating with us for the last race in Porsche. We have Evolved in the Genesis. We have T-Rex Arms in representing Alfa Romeo. We have CBR Identity in Genesis. We have Stiggy in the Alfa Romeo. We have Metal in representing Nissan. KW in Dodge. We have PHG Jersey in Toyota. And we have BHR Beavis in McLaren.
All right, so there we have it. Those are going to be our third split drivers. We're going to be starting qualifying in just a minute. Before we do so, just want to go over just some details regarding my race. I had the comms going while I was racing, and it sounded like there was just action everywhere. I wouldn't say I got taken out. There was an incident coming out of La Source. I think it was on lap 1, the very end of lap 1. Brought me back to P15, I believe. Yeah, I was dead last at one point. I made the wrong call on the rain. I pit a lap too late, and I almost made it to the pits. But it rained as we were coming out of, I don't remember what the last straight is before bus stop. But the rain came, and I saw everybody spinning around me. I'm like, all right, I gotta take this super easy. And that gave me a few positions coming into the pit. After that, it was just a matter of keeping the Viper under control. A lot of people kept telling me the Viper was a really interesting choice, but like I tell everybody, it needed representation. Shout outs to Bobagita. We had an insane battle for like the last 6-7 laps. He was putting insane pressure on me. I had the advantages in the straights, but he had all the ability around the corners. I was parking it, just trying to do everything I could to keep him behind me before the straights. But yeah, Leo, what were your thoughts on that race? Like what were you guys seeing in the first race?
So I was in the little booth here with y'all, just muted the most of the time. That start of the race that kicked everything off, I was not expecting to see that, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a knockout, drag out fight the entire time for these guys. And then that lap that you just told us about where you thought you went in too late. Well, you weren't the only one. When that rain came in and I saw everybody coming through that chicane, everybody went off, and I was like, this is going to be insane for these guys. If they didn't pay attention to when it came in, they are now.
Oh yeah, that the pit strategy was extremely important, but my thing wasn't more of a thought than it was a question. How was the pressure between you and Bobagito? I know sometimes it can be stressful to have to deal with that when you feel like you've gotten away from someone and then the next turn they're right on you. How did you cope with that?
Well, that's the thing. I never thought I got away from him because he was, I think, at the largest the gap was a second. And I knew that a second lead coming out of Kemmel going into, I think it's turn 3, I knew that wasn't going to be enough. So, yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking for sure. But, yeah, we just buckled down and made it work. All right. So, qualifying is underway. We're going to take a quick look at everybody's liveries per usual. Looks like it's going to be KW47 out of the pits first. Secretly, I am rooting for him. He's the only other Viper representative today. He's got that really good-looking Viper skin.
He's changed it up a little bit. It used to be a dark green. Now
following him is RSR Zilla. What's that? That's the Lexus.
Correct.
PHG Papa, the proprietor of Papa's House of Game, in the McLaren. We got C-Dubs here, driving for Team Genesis. Nice little double stripe livery. K Naranjo, this is Oak, driver for Team BMW. He's actually one of my IRO teammates. Evolved in the Genesis, very sleek, nice black and white livery. PHG jersey in the 7-Up Supra. Then we have PHG T-Case, just in the comms earlier for race 1, now running in the bright orange Porsche. For his team CBR, we have Corn Identity, also driving for Genesis. Got the Kinder livery. Metal in the GTR. Looks like Corn let Metal pass before starting his lap. BHR Beavis 75 in the McLaren. Alright, then we got T-Rex Arms in his classic Jurassic Park livery. Very nice. And our final driver of the split is RSR Pablo Chacon, driving for Lamborghini. So for this qualifying session, there's going to be a few different strategies. I wasn't able to see every single strategy in the first race. Pyro, what strategies did you see during that first qualifying session?
So one strategy that we saw from KP, who led the first lap, was starting on softs and then moving over. I don't remember. I don't believe we got to see what tire. Oh, he moved over to the intermediate tires, and then he disconnected. I would have loved to see how that played out. I believe he pitted a lap earlier than everyone else as well. The next thing we saw was with Jorge, who started on the medium tire, went through full wet. He stayed away from the intermediate tires and then got on the hards. So there are a lot of different strategies that seem viable for this, but unfortunately we couldn't see how everything would have played out because of disconnections and then racing incidents and everything else. But it pretty much seems like the worst strategy was to use the soft tires because of the tire.
right. So the drivers are still completing their hot laps. Looks like this is going to be KW is going to be the first to cross the line here. We're on board with C-Dubs at the moment. A very difficult double right-hander here. 46.0 for Sector 2. Now it's going to be essentially flat out all the way until the bus stop. If you get the line right, it feels amazing, as TK said earlier. Yeah, these drivers are going to be full throttle all the way up until the chicane. So KW will be the first to set a time, and it's going to be a 220.9. That puts him in provisional pole, but RSRzilla comes in, takes pole with a 220.1. PHG Papa moves up into P2. Actually,
P3.
Yeah, he was a P2, was a P3 now. Oak, aka Kevin Naranjo, was in pole, but PHG Jersey takes pole with a 19.6. A lot of movers and shakers right now. See Kevin Naranjo, he looks like he reset to the pit. Most drivers looks like they're all going to stay out and either do another hot lap or possibly burn some fuel, pit for some new softs, and then try another flyer on lap 5.
Question for you, Tizum, is what would you suggest the strategy be for qualifying?
Well, my strategy of qualifying, I knew that if I reset to the pits, I'd be able to get 3 hot laps. I originally was going to do 1 out lap, 2 hot laps, and then reset. But I unfortunately got a pen on my second hot lap. I was still able to reset and then do 1 out lap and then 2 hot laps. Yeah, it will be extremely difficult to do, but if you're fast enough, you could actually do 1 flyer and then pit, and then do a second flyer at the end of the race and have like a really light car. But again, like the qualifying time, it's super tight. And after you cross the line, you only have 2 minutes as a countdown. So even if you start your final lap, if you're not far enough into the lap, you actually won't finish the lap.
And what do you think of the strategy, the whole concept of having a qualifying strategy? How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's interesting. It adds another twist to quali instead of just
Fastest person
instead of just going out, running lap, and then it adds a new dimension to qualifying. I think it's really interesting. Like getting qualifying strats, like different qualifying strats, is actually really interesting.
Okay.
But we got eyes on. Looks like we're on Oak at the moment, coming around the final straight. I'm seeing some improvements, but I'm not seeing any movements up in the top 4. Jersey is pulling into the pits. He's going to get some new soft tires. C-Dubs is also in the pits. Looks like C-Dubs and Evolve both reset to the pit. So Jersey is taking a bit of a chance. There's a really long pit stop here, so that's going to eat up a lot of his time. He's going to have to absolutely fly on his out lap to get that last lap in. And we're looking at RSRzilla. Yep, we're on Evolve coming out of the pits. And yeah, it looks like he just reset. So where are we at? We got about 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. That's going to be close. He might be able to get another flyer.
Hey, Leo, are there any predictions for this one?
I was just trying to come up with that in my head. I've raced against quite a few of these guys already. Let's see. Man, Jersey's fast, but so is C-Dubs and Oak. And Papa when he wants to be. And KW. Pretty much the whole list.
And Zilla. Excuse me?
Say that again.
Oh, yes. Probably shouldn't have answered that.
All right, so yeah, we're on board with Papa at the moment, currently in P7, just over 7/10 behind the pole position time. He's currently on a flyer 44.5. about a second off of his personal best as of right now. He's going to cross the line with maybe about around 30 to 40 seconds left. Yeah, if he can push it, he'll be able to finish one last lap, but that's going to be really, really close. I'm taking a look at PHG KW getting a little slideways coming out of bus stop. That may have affected his fastest lap. Zilla improves by 9,000ths of a second, stays in P4. PHG Papa crosses the line, about 30 seconds left, so he will have enough time to finish his final lap. Evolved is in the pits, looks like he is calling it a session. So he's going to be P6 at best. Jersey still holding on to a slight lead over C-Dubs at 19.6. Currently good enough for pole, about a 10th and a half ahead of C-Dubs. We're on board with Jersey, our current pole sitter. This will, oh no, this is his out lap, so he won't actually be able to start his next lap.
I was gonna say he's not gonna be able to. This will be his last lap.
BHR Zilla, no, not Zilla. Couldn't see who that was. We crossed the line with a penalty. C-Dubs going purple in sector 1 by half a tenth. He's got a minute and a half to finish this lap. I don't know if that's gonna be possible. Again, another really, really tight margin there.
Yeah. What's Tuzum, what's the runoff time for here? I didn't quite see what it was in y'all's race.
It is 2 minutes.
2 minutes, and they're about midway through the track. Yeah, he's gonna be pushing it. I don't think he's gonna have enough time.
Yeah, I think that was another really interesting aspect of qualifying. Not being guaranteed your final lap after you cross the line.
Here's a question,
Yeah.
because I haven't seen Corn Identity race. Is that an alternate for Cornbread?
I believe not.
No, it's two different people.
It is two different people.
Very interesting.
Yeah, both of them fans of corn. One prefers their corn in the bread form.
So, from what I'm seeing, is there is a band on Evolve. So Evolve will be starting to the at the back.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing.
Oh my goodness!
Just
Oak just stole pole at the very last second.
What?
Wow!
wow.
He cut that perfectly.
Yeah.
Wow!
That's crazy.
Oh, but wow! That is absolutely insane. Pyro, can you take us through our qualifying grid?
Yes, absolutely. We have at the very last second PHG Oak starting in first. We have Corn Identity starting in second. In the representing Team Genesis, we have the Toyota Supra driven by PHG Jersey in third, and then we have another Genesis driven by PHG C-Dubs in fourth. We have Zilla in a Lexus in P5. We have Evolved in another Genesis in P6. Papa representing Team McLaren in P7. And then we have KW in the Viper, which is just so happens to be your team, your teammate in P8. Followed by BHR Beavis in P9 in the McLaren. We have Metal in the Nismo starting in P10. And then the Alfa Romeo 4C driven by T-Rex Arms in 11th place. T-Case in Porsche in 12th. And last but not least, we have RSR Pablo in 13th place driving the Lamborghini Huracan.
I don't think I ever seen anyone take pole And like literally the last second. That was absolutely insane. So drivers are going to be getting prepped. The very important decision in the beginning of this race is the tire to start on. Now, me and the Viper, I didn't think I'd be able to make the softs last until the rain came, which was around lap, I think it was lap 7 or 8, I can't remember. But we saw a bunch of different strategies. Some people did softs, some mediums, some hards. Leo, if you were, well, you're actually going to be in this race, what tires are you considering starting this race on?
So, unfortunately, I will not be able to make the race tomorrow due to work conflictions. But me personally, I'd want to get rid of that hard tire as fast as humanly possible. So I would start on the hard and probably switch over to the mediums just to do pretty much a one-stopper. Or two, technically, with the rain, because you'd want to put the rain tires on. If I was in the back and I knew there was no hope, maybe go into the softs and try to get the fastest lap, but other than that, that's pretty much where I would stick to.
Okay. Yeah, because like the one thing I was thinking about is that the people, I don't know who started on hards, but I know that they would have had the advantage in the second half of the race because they could have went to the mediums or even the softs if they were feeling bold enough. What about you, Pyro? What would your strat be for this race?
So I've learned watching Shaggy and Jorge, and I'd say that they would have had, although Jorge had an amazing race, I think they would have had a much better race had they started on the hards and got the hards out the way. But also, I think it's very dependent on where you start. Typically, most people that start in the front like to, try to build a lead with the soft tires. But Jorge chose to build his lead with the medium tires, and that worked out well because KP took the lead up front. But I say you start with the hard tires, get rid of them. That way, you have a lighter car on either the soft or medium tires at the end of the race. So I would start on the hard tires. I think that works out best, especially for my driving style.
Okay.
Yeah, and you got to think it's a
I
long
think
race. Oh, go ahead, Tezin. Sorry.
Yeah, I think after, I was just gonna say after the first race, I think there might be a few people that were initially gonna go softs, but might be rethinking that decision. I'm not sure exactly how hard that stint was for the soft runners, but I did hear some whispers from the first race saying that a few people were struggling towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one interesting thing that I saw was that a few people in that race went inters instead of full wets. And all the practice that I did, I was seeing green rain, yellow, pink rain. And I'm like, there's no way the intermediates are going to be that well in that type of weather. But, yeah, I mean, they made it work. I mean, Shag, I think he was on the inters and then ran them pretty far after the race dried. So,
yes. So one
know.
thing, So one thing we didn't get to see is the weather radar, right? So you guys got a little bit more insight apart from the driving than we did, because we didn't get to see what the weather looked like from the stream. But I will say this: no one that I saw that started or used the soft tires had a good race. And I'm not sure if you were watching or listening in, but I did say that I would stay away from the soft tires, as much as possible.
Yeah, me personally, I think if I had a car that was a little more gentler on its tires, maybe the softs could have worked with a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Tire preservation. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what these split 3 drivers are going to do. Maybe we'll see a similar mix of soft, medium, and hard runners in this first stint. The thing with the softs and mediums, do remember is that the hards are required tire. So after the rain stops, you will have to finish your final stint on the hards. And with the track drying out, it can be a bit difficult trying to keep the car on that dry line. You touch that wetness, and at worst, you're understeering for the next 2 years. Worst case scenario, you're spinning like crazy, like a spinning top.
All I gotta say is don't touch the wet curbs on a slick tire. You'll have a bad time.
Yeah, and that's pretty difficult to do. Like I know at Spa the runoff is just so wide, and it is so important to be able to use the runoff on this track. So it'll be very interesting, this being third split, to see how these drivers manage the conditions of the track here. You know, again, I asked you guys kind of, shied away from it. Any predictions on who takes pole? I mean, not pole. I'm sorry, not pole. Who takes podium?
I know what you meant. So I got to root for my IRL teammate Oak, current pole sitter. So I'm gonna say he gets P1. Let me take a look back. I'm gonna take a second look at the grid really quick. I'm gonna say, I don't know, the CBR guys, they're really fast. So I'm gonna say Corn Identity gets P2. And then for the sake of manufacturer favoritism, I'm going to say KW is going to take the final step of the podium.
I thought we were live.
All right, so we just got word from our production team, aka Salamander, that we will be starting this race in just a few moments. Cars are lined up on the grid. Grid start. False start penalty check. Kevin on pole, followed by Corn Identity on the first row. Lights are out. Looks like everybody's away cleanly. Corn Identity getting a much better start off the line. He might be able to push for the lead going into Eau Rouge, and he does have the lead over top of Kevin. Going down to Kennel Straight. I see somebody going off in the back there, but it looks like there wasn't any drama. They're all line of stern trying to get as much slip as they can going into turn 3. The slam on the anchors for the first time.
We have Meta
trying to look on the inside.
In 8th place with the Metal in 8th place with the half a second back there. I'll run through the grid. I don't see anyone else with any penalties. But I have to say that, the torque of the Genesis happened to pull Corn up front, up ahead. And I think P1 and P2 are both Genesis.
Yeah, I also see that Corn Identity started on the softs, so he's going to take that risk and try to make the softs last for 7 to 8 laps until the rain comes. C-Dubs moves up into P2 in front of Oak. P2 running a medium stretch. Oak is all over the rear bumper of that Genesis. Goes down the inside, makes it stick, takes back P2, and we'll see if he can somehow claw his way back up to P1, although that tire disparity might make that a bit difficult. But right now he's the fastest of the medium runners, so it's in an overall pretty good spot to start this first lap.
Something I think we should pay attention to is how this pans out. Oh, and BHR Beavis with a half a second penalty back in P12. I want to pay attention to where Evolved, Zilla, and we have quite a lot of people starting on a hard tire in this race. So let's see how this works out. We have T-Rex Arms on the hards, T-Case on the hards, Metal on the hards. T-Case actually moved up in the 10th place. He got an overtake done. He's currently side by side with Metal, who Metal
Oh,
Ooh,
C-Dub
C-Dubs.
spins coming out of the
wow.
source.
You hate to
Drops down
see
to
it.
P8. Still can't get the car around. Everybody's got to dodge him. He's trying to get the car turned around now.
Oh man,
Got to
just missed his braking
Looks like
point
there
and
was a-
tap.
He almost
yeah,
powered
just a
out too
little
soon.
too excited on the loud pedal.
Yeah.
So he is going to have a heck of a comeback drive. 22 seconds behind the leader, about 11 seconds behind the nearest competitor.
Oh, he backed out. He left. Oh wow, we had a
Guess
car
he
go
had some
airborne.
unrepairable engine damage.
We had a car go airborne back in 11th place.
Oh.
There's
must have hit one
where
of the
can you get
bollards.
airborne here? I'm curious now.
You hit one of the bollards
Oh, yeah, that
just
can.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can send the car into space. I've tried. Many, many times.
All right, so we have Beavis with a penalty, and he's the only penalty on track after the back out there.
Let's see,
We're
did
taking a
we...
look at Pablo Chacon taking over P11 from Beavis. Very nice move down the inside. So we got a little bit of a gaggle for these final positions.
Ooh,
P8
and
to
TK
P12.
goes off. TK goes off.
In what position is he in?
12th.
Oh, okay.
That is unfortunate. See if we can get a replay of what happened to TK's. Looks like there was a nudge, and looks like he got pushed out wide. It was hard to see. Looks like there may have been some contact. We'll see.
Between him and Metal, yeah.
Yeah, but that's very unfortunate. He's not too far behind the next driver, so we'll see if he can claw his way back up the field. Jersey and Papa in a really heated battle, approaching the source. Oh, Papa just sticking his nose down the inside. Maybe thought about making a move into the source, but he's going to tuck behind Jersey. The McLaren, I don't think it has the best top end, but he's going to get a lot of slip from that powerful Supra. So we'll see if he can get a good exit out already on. Can he close that gap a little bit? About 6/10, increasing to 7/10. Doesn't look like he'll be able to make the move just yet, but hopefully he can stay close enough to at least stay within the toe of that Supra. KW and the Viper up into P5, being chased down by Zilla and the Lexus. Lexus thinks about making a move down the inside. Stays line of stern for right now. I just put a lot of pressure on that Viper. That Viper, not really the best around corners. You know, American cars, they're good at going fast in a straight line and not much else.
Definitely. We have a double penalty, one from in 10th place by Pablo Chacon, and Metal with a half a second as well. T-Rex Arms, who's on the hard tires, moves up into 8th place. So there's a nice little train between 8th back into 11th. And T-Case is, on the chase right now, which is going to be very difficult for him in the hard tires. Metal goes off again, and then there's contact between him
inside. These guys are fighting tooth and nail right now for that P9 and P10.
Yeah, they are.
Beavis is looking to reap those benefits once they serve their penalties after these next two corners. T-Rex is running away a little bit thanks to these guys fighting.
Yeah, and Beavis is also on the medium tires while Pablo and Metal are on the hards. So he definitely should, be able to pull away a bit while these guys serve their penalty.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be stuck behind other drivers when you're on a faster tire, because that just absolutely ruins your race.
Yeah, it does.
Taking a look at the battle for P5, Zilla with the narrow lead over KW. We got Lexus versus Viper, both really strong cars down the main straight. Coming out of T1.
It looks like TK is going to be
going side by side.
Looks like TK is going to be able to move from that last position. up in Eau Rouge after Metal has a slip twice in a row. And then there's a battle in 10th place between Beavis and Pablo. Look like they may be working together. Let's see. I saw bump draft from Pablo, and Beavis pulls away.
Yeah, I mean that's really smart to do here especially with these really long straights. You know, if you got a gap to either extend from the car behind or try to catch up to the car ahead, it may be worth it to try and, you know, find a drafting buddy and try to make up some ground that way. I know I believe it was the CBR team did that last week in the Lamborghinis. They worked together to move from down in last positions up into, I think they were on the podium by the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that we didn't see anyone working together last race. That shocked me a bit because this is a track where you would expect that. And we have, whoa, was that netcode? Oh, the Beavis, BHR Beavis goes off and loses 2 positions, which brings T-Case up in the 10th. We have a yellow flag.
Oh, PHG KW. There was contact between him and Zilla. I believe it was Zilla. And we'll take a look at the replay here. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Oh, no, it wasn't Zilla.
KW was really early on the brakes, and it was Evolved.
Yeah.
So, KW, I believe he just did it. No, he didn't disconnect. He's right there. Yeah, it looked like KW was just really early on the brakes. I'm not sure what happened with him there, but yeah, that early brake caused that collision. Evolved really couldn't do anything about that.
So T-Rex Arms moves from last place in the 7th by the 5th lap. And he's already on the hard tires, so, you know, he's going to have a big advantage later on. And these MR cars are a lot better than the FR cars in the wet, so I look forward to seeing what T-Rex Arms will be able to do in his Jurassic Park themed livery.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying in that little 4C. We're taking a look at his T-Case, and I'm not sure who this is in the GTR, but it looks like he's going to go down the inside into turn 1. This is Metal. Oh, goes a bit deep going into turn 1, outbrakes himself. Drops down to P12. Now, he's still within slipstream range, so hopefully with the grip that GTR has, he can stick with him. He is on a hard tire, so it might be a bit difficult. Unless the other 2 drivers are also on the hard tires, which I believe they are. And so we got, looks like the battle for P8 starting to heat up a little bit. Pablo Chacon is catching up to PHG KW. And also the battle for P10 is looking really close. T-Case in the Porsche holding on to P10 as they go through Puhan. Beavis all over the back of that Porsche. Let's see if he tries to make a move. No, he's going to stick behind for a little bit longer. Maybe they're, trying to play it smart, stay where they are, and maybe work together to try to catch some of the drivers up ahead.
Now, with these guys running in the back, do you think they would have an advantage when the rain does get here, since they can see it and be able to sneak into the pits beforehand?
Well, one of 2 things could happen. That could happen where they get to pit earlier before everyone else. But the opposite can also happen. Everybody else can pit before the rain comes, and if they mistime it, they could get caught out in the rain. So
yeah. And there's also the possibility that the guys up front have a chance to be faster than the rain and manage to get a faster lap, manage to be able to beat the rain into the pits as well. That can happen also. Where you sneak in that extra lap. Although, with Corn Identity being on the soft tires, and right now his tires are about halfway there, You know, you got to wonder if that's a possibility. Now, this is the third split, so they're not going to be moving as fast as the people in top split. So, you know, it's all something that has to be played by eye here.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely saw an example of that in the first race. Jorge and I think a couple of the other runners, they stayed out an extra lap and they were able to beat the rain, whereas everyone who was further behind, they got caught out in that final sector. So, yeah, we'll see. It all depends on what everybody's pace is here. We do expect the rain in around 5 to 7 minutes or so. So yeah, we'll see how Corn Identity manages those tires. Like Pyro said, they're about halfway right now. I do anticipate a little bit of a grip loss. Oak and Jersey, not too far behind at this point. Really making those mediums work. They're about 2.5 seconds behind Corn Identity. I believe they might actually be, they're catching them at this point. So, yeah, Corn really is going to have to stretch out those tires a little bit more to try to hold on to this lead.
Interestingly enough, Papa seems to be in no man's land, where he has 5 seconds between him and Jersey and 8 seconds between him and Zilla. And, you know, with the spacing of the track, it looks like he's the safest person on the track. Interestingly enough.
You know, sometimes it's nice.
Yeah,
to actually,
sometimes you do just want to have the. What were you going to say, Leo?
the same thing you were about to say, Tuzum. It's kind of nice sometimes to be in that no man's land, because then you don't have to worry about a single thing. You just run laps and do you.
Yeah. Corn Identity's tire it seems like his tires are falling off. We have Oak's being challenged by Jersey, and we hate to see it. Half a second penalty.
But that's going to make Jersey's job a little bit easier, overtaking Oak as they exit the Kemmel Straight.
Now Oak's staring down that home every second. As Jersey goes a bit wide but manages to keep it, he's on the outside. Oak doesn't go for a move here, which good for Jersey, I suppose. And, you know, great sportsmanship on Oak's part, because at the end of the lap, he does have to serve the penalty.
Yeah, I'm noticing the gap to P1, it shrunk just a bit from 2.5 seconds to just over 2 seconds. So maybe it might be smarter for these guys to just stay where they are, because they got to be thinking at this point, his tires are running out. We have a chance to go for the lead at this point.
Yeah, tire wear is kicking in big time. Tire wear is definitely kicking in.
Yeah, you can see that gap dropping quickly.
T-Rex Arms also with a half a second penalty now.
Looks like we got a little battle between TK
Right now we're
and
taking a look
Beavis.
at the battle for P10. TK's holding just about a second lead over Beavis in that Lamborghini.
TK goes a bit wide, and so does Beavis. So not quite a battle, but it's getting ready to. It's heading in that direction. Especially with the rain just becoming imminent. This is
around the time where that where the rain is going to start coming down. So they got to have a close eye on their radars. You know, do they pit now? Do they pit next lap? They have that information. We unfortunately do not. So they're going to be able to make their own decisions on when to pit. We're keeping an eye out on the pit lane. Looks like everybody's staying out, so maybe the rain isn't that close, but we are expecting it very soon.
And Corn Identity with half a second.
So he's got a half a second penalty, but more importantly, he is only a second ahead of PHG Jersey. Jersey is now within slipstream range, so that's going to help him get even closer.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And those tires are looking worse for wear now as well, so I expect to see Jersey take the lead. He's nearly half a second down. I expect Jersey to take the lead this lap. Oak's still a distance off. about 2.5 seconds away from Jersey. Let's see how this thing plays out. This is lining up quite interesting. Pablo's
Corn Identity is absolutely struggling on those soft tires.
and
We knew it was
Pablo-
going to be a gamble.
Yeah, definitely, especially in a
ahead.
car as heavy as the Genesis. You know, that thing burns through tires. RSR Pablo in 8th place with a 0.5 second penalty as well. KW right on his tail. So we look to see a couple of position changes this lap.
All right, so we got word from chat that the rain is starting to appear on the radar. So drivers are definitely going to be thinking about whether or not to pit on this lap. I think right now it might be a bit too early considering where they are on the track. But at the same time, we were talking about the drivers further back. They might be able to make a slightly better decision. And, you know, they might be able to pit now and come out just as the rain hits the track.
Is Jersey on controller?
I am not sure, but the flashing headlights would lead me to believe that he is.
Yeah. That's what made me ask. Metal goes off briefly, even though he went green. Interesting. It's about 40. There's a 45-second difference between last and first right now. T-Case has lost another.
So far, the top 6 have all stayed out. Top 7, Pablo will be the next to come across. He does enter the pits, as does KW. Viva stays out, and T-Case has pit. So we've got 3 drivers pitting in now. So this is going to be the lap where these pit decisions are going to really come to light. No wipers just yet, so there's no rain quite yet. But as you saw in the first race, the rain, it came hard and it came fast. So these drivers, the eyes are got to be glued to the radar. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. I don't know. It's a toss-up right now.
Jersey has about nearly a 2.5 second lead, although the lead has been dropping. Now it's going back up to Corn Identity. Then right on Corn's tail is PHG Oak, followed by Papa, still in no man's land. You know, being hunted by, and I'm starting to see rain on the screen from Zilla, who's in 5th. Evolve.
Voice meter is starting to fill up.
Yes, it is. We have T-Rex on.
So
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
T-Rex arms in 7th. It's about 34 seconds away. BHR Beavis in 8th place, followed by Pablo in 9th. And then we have KW with a 3-second penalty. There must be a pit lane violation in 10th place. T-Case is in 11th, and Metal is in 12th, and Metal's on wets.
Zilla goes off.
RSR Zilla is off track. The top 4 made it to the pit safely. RSR Zilla is the first one to get caught out by that rain.
Yeah,
Careful, T-Rex.
Struggling to get the car turned around so he can get into the pit. He's got to be careful because he get reset.
Oh,
And it's possible for the game to reset you after the pit entry.
yeah, and that would be awful. That would just be awful. To have to do an extra lap in these conditions? No way.
Oh, we got it
He
there.
is just entering the pits. That is how much of a struggle it is on those slick tires. Beavis making it into the pits. So we're looking at Pablo Chacon. He was the first driver to come out on the wet tires. So we're going to take a look to see how much of a difference between the drivers who pit on last lap and the drivers that made it to the pits before the rain came out. There were 4 drivers that made it into the pits before the rain. came out. It was the top 4 drivers. So we'll take a look. Looks like yep, Jersey's already back on track, as is Corn Identity, Oak, and Papa. So strategy working out perfectly for those guys so far. It looks like they are all on the wet tire. Yeah, that rain is absolutely coming down. You see when that moist meter gets all the way up into the 3rd bar, that's when you want to go on the wets at that point.
Absolutely. We should start to see more position changes as TK's on the wet tires crosses the pit lanes in 10th place. Okay. And I don't expect there to be any more changes.
We're on board with Oak currently in P3, chasing down Corn Identity. It looks like he's closing the gap just a bit. Corn Identity, I'm surprised. I'm a little surprised to see him come out in 2nd. He was really struggling on those softs, but I guess he managed to keep Oak behind. But Oaks looks like he's going to be within slipstream range pretty soon if he can keep up his pace. He's going to try to put a lot of pressure on Corn. It's dark and it's wet. Having a driver behind you, seeing those headlights behind you, it's going to put a lot of pressure. It's really hard to withstand in these conditions.
And here's the question for you, Tism, being, the most experienced person in this race tonight. Was there concern for dirty air in the rain? I think a lot of people would like to know, if that's a problem.
I don't recall if I was really following anybody in the rain. I think most of my rain stint, I was flying solo. I can imagine that dirty air would be a bit of an issue. I don't think it would be the first thing on my mind. I'd more so be just concerned about keeping my car on track. But yeah, I mean, dirty air, it's always there, so I'd imagine it would still be an issue even in the wet.
Here, there's a really close battle. Although Corn is pulling away from Oak now, previously, Papa's still in no man's land, 15 seconds away from Oak and 9 seconds away from Evolved. So, again, I can't help but feel like Papa's the safest person in this race being in no man's land. As long as he keep it on the track, he's fine.
Corn Identity and Oak both picking up half a second penalties. So they'll stay where they are, but unfortunately they're going to lose a bit more time to Jersey. It was about 5 seconds up the road. They're safe from the threat behind for now from PHG Papa. But yeah, that will not help their battle for the lead.
Definitely not at all. Definitely not at all. I hope Papa's listening so he could hear me when I say, don't use the whole track now, Papa. I have a habit of telling Papa every race, use the whole track. This is the time when you actually don't. Did you experience, was it faster in this race to use an alternate line than the typical line people use on this track, like because of the weather, or did you stick to the normal racing line?
Yeah, so in conditions like this, I think it's best to break off of the normal racing line. You get a bit more grip. One thing I do want to mention that right now Pablo is catching up to T-Rex arms quite rapidly. T-Rex opted for the inters, so he's not going to have quite as much grip as those on the wets. That heavy rain, once you start seeing the green and the yellow on the radar, the IMs, they don't go so fast. They really struggle to disperse that water. Pablo does have a half-second penalty, though, so we'll keep an eye on him for a little bit to see if and when Pablo can take away P6 from T-Rex. Race might come back to T-Rex once the rain stops. He'll be able to drive a little bit longer on those inters. They don't wear as fast as the wets once the racetrack dries. So maybe that's what he's looking for, trying to make a longer wet stint work for him. Corn Identity and Oak, after serving their penalties, going almost side by side out of the final chicane. Corn manages to hold on to P2 for right now, but Oak, all of the exhaust of that Genesis,
And Metal with another half a second penalty. Getting ready to serve it now. You know, this is like quicksand. That's exactly what we're seeing on the track right now is quicksand. And that's basically where, you know, one thing goes bad, and then another, and then another, and then another penalty, and another penalty. So you got to feel for some of these guys to have to drive in these conditions. These are awful conditions. It's pretty much, it's almost like driving in a monsoon. This is
It's really, really important to mind your braking points. It's extremely difficult to just take too much speed into a corner, run wide or cut the corner, get yourself a half-second penalty. You know, one of the keys to this race is, you know, in weather like this, is to, you know, keep it clean. Stay off the track, avoid wheel spin at any costs. You know, some drivers are doing a little bit better job of it than others. Jersey, for example, he's just pulling away. He's now 8.5 seconds ahead of P2 and P3. So him being in no man's land, but also in first place, he gets to run his own race. And, you know, once the weather starts to dry, he'll have a bit more leeway in case he gets the strap wrong by chance.
Definitely. And I'm seeing Papa edging closer and closer to Oak as well. Well, now he's just lost some momentum, but overall, I'd say the track is a lot more spread out than the previous race. But
so, Lee, I got a question for you. So we're looking at the battle for P2 right now. Corn Identity, they went from 5 seconds back to 9 seconds back. If you were in Corn's position, how would you handle this part of the race, knowing that you're losing ground to P1?
You know, me personally, I probably would just settle in, try to keep Oak behind me instead of him getting around me, especially with the conditions. Like, this is not the time to be pushing your car to the absolute limit. Yes, keeping it fast and smooth is the ideal thing, but with the rain and everything, you just want to keep the car on track as much as possible and not pick up penalties. Jersey, looking at you.
So as we were talking about it, Jersey does pick up a half-second penalty, so that gap to P1 is going to shrink just a little bit. It is shrinking right now, though. It looks like it went from around 9.2 seconds down to about 8.4. So definitely changing. Looks like the rain may have stopped, because I'm starting to see that the rain meter is now at the it's in the second third of the track. So T-Rex arms on those inters.
Oh wow!
The weather. As soon as I said something, it's starting to rain even more.
Rain picked up again. They pulled the switcheroo on us.
Yeah, and
like
actually that exact
right
same
there.
thing happened in the last race too. It looked like it was going to stop, and then we got hit with another pink section of rain. So it's going to be a little bit longer before T-Rex can really make good use out of those inters.
Wow. So is there what traction control would you recommend for a race like this? And is there any point where you started to, you know, like experiment where you turn the traction control down a bit? Because as I run through the field, I see everyone is using traction control in this weather.
So this might surprise you, but I only use traction control on 2 instances. I used it on the lap going into the pits when it started raining, and I used it coming out of the pits after it stopped raining. When I did my practice, my laps with traction control were about as fast without traction control, and honestly I feel more comfortable without traction control. So I mean, me personally, I don't use it, but I mean it's a preference thing. Some people, they prefer to use traction control just to keep the car a little more stable. Some people, they use their right foot as the traction control.
Throttle control is all too important.
I am in the camp of using it and using the other assist at all times. Because I'm lazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fair. There were a number of drivers, even in top split, using some of the assists.
the assists are there for a reason.
Yep. So when I was doing qualifying, I had it on 3 when it was raining like it is in that Mazda. But that thing, mid-range power and high-end power, that thing is spinning tires left and right. So there's not really a sweet spot in it. It's all or nothing. So you kind of have to use it.
I agree. It's almost like driving with the Genesis, first and second gear, in the wet. In the wet, the amount of torque that car produces is insane. And then on top of that, to make matters worse, I think the only car in Group 3 that weighs more than the. Oh wow, we have a move.
Sorry to cut you off, but I think we got Oak making a move onto Corn Identity.
Yeah,
down to Camel straight onto the brakes.
Can he get it done?
And
it looks as though
Oak
he got
is going to make it stick.
Oh yeah.
So he got a crazy slipstream coming out of Radion and was able to go side by side down to Camel straight, and yeah, just a little bit later on the brakes and holds on to P2. Now he's got about just under 8 seconds to PHG Jersey in P1. We're gonna see now if he was being held up by Corn. As of right now, it looks like he was, because he's almost out of slipstream range.
Yeah, he's pulling away. He's pulling. He was.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on. Yeah, one thing to keep an eye on. That rain meter is now getting close to the bottom third. Ideally, you can stick on the hards, or whatever tire you're going to switch on to. You can stick on the slicks once it's just above the 1/3 meter. Some people, they might stick it out, wait another lap just to be safe. Absolutely fine. But drivers are definitely going to be thinking about switching to the slicks very soon.
And this is where we're going to see the difference between the medium runners and the hard runners, because a lot of people started this race on the hard tire. And we know, was it Oak started on? No.
Oak started on.
I
think he started on mediums.
C-Dub started on the soft tire.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, the only car heavier than the Genesis in Group 3, I believe, is the Nismo. So, that combination is horrible on tires.
All right, so the top 3 drivers all stayed out, so they're going to elect to do at least one more lap. One thing to look at is just the tire wear of those wets. Once the track starts to dry out, those wets absolutely get destroyed. We saw Corn Identities driving over to the right-hand side of that straight to get some moisture under that tire, try to keep the tires cool, because they will absolutely not survive many laps once that track starts to dry. Looks like PHG Papa also stayed out, as did Evolve. So everybody's electing to stay out. Not quite. Looks like they're not quite ready to go into the slicks just yet. Looking at the track, that might be the best decision. One thing to keep in mind is that the rate of the track drying out is going to change depending on how many drivers on track.
Yeah,
right now there's 12 drivers on track compared to our race where we had 15. So
and we have T-Case
is in the pits. So he's gonna try to make the slicks work. I think he might. Well, we're waiting on one other driver to come across the line. Looks like the driving elastic is staying out. So T-Case will be the one and only driver going out on the slick tires. We'll see if he can make it work. There is definitely a dry line forming currently. Except he's probably fueled for the remainder of the race. Now, one thing about this track, very interesting, is that the pit lane exit is actually dry. So even though he's on the slick tires, he'll be okay to exit the track. He is going quite slow, which is very fair because that pit lane penalty is very easy. Oh my! And he gets the pit lane penalty.
Tells him you got your first commentator's curse there.
T-Case, I am terribly sorry. All right, so the leaders are coming around to start lap 16. The gap to the lead looked like it dropped to just under 6 seconds. PHG Jersey looks like he stays out. Oak is into the pits, as is Corn Identity. So now, if the track is dry enough for slicks, Jersey's going to be at a pretty big disadvantage because wet tires, they are not very fast in dry conditions.
I don't think the wet tires are very fast in drying conditions either. So
Yeah.
Jersey's gonna, he's a real big decision to make. As far as, well, it's not really that difficult of a decision. It's coming to the pits, but I want to know. I'm wondering what tires he's going to come out. What tires everyone's going to come out on, because I forgot by now who started on which tires, but I do know a lot of people, as I said before, have started on the hard tires. So we'll see if anyone has an advantage here. We'll see who has the advantage here, especially with Jersey. With Jersey having what just took place there? That was weird.
A few more drivers stayed out. So Oak is on the hards.
Oh boy.
So he'll be good to go for the remainder of the race. Comes out around T-Rex and Pablo. Oak desperately trying to get back onto the dry line, but it was taken by T-Rex as he was driving past. Corn Identity is also on the hard tires. He's about a second behind P5, which is currently Zilla, who is still on the wets. So Corn Identity, he's going to want to get past Zilla as soon as possible because Zilla is not on. I really think at this point, drivers should be on the slicks now. I mean, Zilla's tires are absolutely destroyed. Pablo Chacon going down the inside of T-Rex arms, takes away P2. I didn't notice that he was also on the intermediates. Oak following behind in P4 on the hard tires. It's going to be difficult for him to pass because if he wants to get around one of these cars, if they don't make a mistake, he's going to have to dip some tires onto that wet line, which is incredibly risky.
We have a bit of contact going on.
Ooh,
Chacon drifting around that corner.
that was beautiful.
Manages to hold on to P4 very close. Oh, Oak is now up into P2.
We have a
Pablo
spin.
just spun.
Ah,
Unfortunate. Luckily, he's on wet tires, so he can recover fairly quickly if he has to drive through some moisture to get back on track. Held on to that.
we got onto the
Breaking
curb.
into the first right-hander. Yeah, just a little too much throttle for those wet tires to handle. Very unfortunate, but we'll see what he can do at this point. The race isn't over. He's still got 10 laps of racing left. So Jersey finally enters the pits. He is refueling. Oak is crossing the start-finish line to start lap 17. This might be close. I believe the gap was around 6 seconds before Oak and Corn took to the pits on the previous lap.
Oh, Jersey is out.
It looks like
Out on
Jersey
track.
is out of the pits. It's gonna still be a bit of a speed
Wiggle, wiggle.
Hold it! Alright, Oak
Gotta
doing a
kick.
little bit of cursive driving coming out of Eau Rouge and Radion. Holds on to it. The gap to P1 is now at 3.7 seconds. So he did lose a couple of seconds staying out on the wets, but not a terrible disadvantage. So taking a look at Papa, looks like he was just overtaken by Evolved. So Evolved's now in P4, Papa in P5 running on the hards. Zilla and Pablo Chacon finally come in to get off of those wet tires.
And what did I say?
Flash of medium, so one of those drivers are coming out on the mediums.
And what I say, Evolved is on medium tires. T-Rex Arms is on soft tires. Zilla is on medium tires. Pablo's on medium tires. Beavis is on hard tires. T-Case is on medium tires. and then we have Metal and KW in the pit. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Yeah, I really want to see how T-Rex does on those softs. That tiny little alpha, he's gonna have. It's 9 laps to go to the finish. I don't know if that's something that he practiced. Maybe he's confident in his tire preservation. I mean, I would imagine the 4C being as small as it is, it's pretty good on tires. Oh, Pablo Chacon coming out of the pits with a 3-second penalty. Oh, he's into the wall going into no name.
So something I noticed at Suzuka a couple of weeks back was that the C4 is extremely good on tires, where Velasquez was able to squeak out 2 extra laps on the softer tires, and he was starting in last and pulling off wins with some really fast guys in the lobby because he was able to get 2 extra laps on the soft tires. I don't know if you guys recall, but about 4 weeks ago, the race was Suzuka in Group 3 in, I believe it was soft and hard tires, where the pit strategy was everyone was doing 3 laps on the soft tires, and he was pulling out 5 to 6 laps on the soft.
Wow, that's impressive. So maybe he can make this work. After 1 lap, doesn't show too much signs of wear, but again, it's still a long race to go. We saw what happened to RSR Zilla entering the braking zone going into no name. He clipped the curb with those right side tires and just immediately lost all grip. All right, so we're looking at the battle for P8 as of right now. T-Case being chased down by BHR Beavis. Both drivers, I believe, are on the medium tires. I think we got a spin coming out of coming into, I think it was the bus stop, I think. Oh, we got yellow flag.
No.
That was Corn Identity. Oh, he was on for a podium. We'll take a look to see what happens. Just a little bit squirrely, then he had to correct the car. Driving onto the curb, and curb said, "No, get off of me."
I said at the beginning of the race.
Coming out.
And Oak.
Oh, Oak spun too. Coming out of no name.
You have to
I
stay
think
away
he
from the
manages
curb
to stay in P2.
You have to stay away.
All right, so with all of that carnage, Jersey still remains our leader. He's got a 10-second advantage over Oak, and behind him is now Evolved in P3. He's got about a 10-second gap to P2, and he's also got a 10-second gap to P4, which is currently held by PHG Papa. And Corn Identity, unfortunately, with that mishap, he drops down to P5. We're going to take a look to see. Looks like Corn might be closing in on Papa. Not quite enough to make a move going into the chicane, but maybe he can get close enough with Papa going a little bit wide into that first corner.
And this is something
Corn
else.
Right on his rear bumper.
It's something else to take notice about the battle between Papa and Corn. This is something that's good for those that are interested. Papa's not using traction control and Corn is, so this will give the people in the race tomorrow a good idea of will traction control benefit you this late in the race. We also get
Corn
to
Identity
see
all over the back of that McLaren going into Eau Rouge.
and Papa goes off.
Oh! Papa with a massive tank slapper coming out of Eau Rouge. I think he slammed into that outside wall, unfortunately. Let's take a quick look.
Interestingly, is damage turned off for this race? Papa doesn't have damage.
There is light damage. So we'll take a look. Onto the curb, getting sideways. Wow, how did he not get damage from that?
That's weird.
There's got to be hacks. It's got to be hacks.
Papa left his Game Shark on.
Yep. I can't say I blame him.
Well, I was very fortunate for him to not have damage. Yeah, that puts Corn Identity back up into P4. Bit of a hill to climb to catch up with Evolved. 20.5 second gap. But we've seen so much happen in this race. Anything can happen. It's not over until it's over. So we're looking with T-Rex arms after, I believe this is his third lap on the softs, and they're not looking too bad. It's really taking care of those tires, really just not overdriving the car, managing the gap to P3. Papa just about 4 seconds up the road. See if he can make a challenge for that position within the next few laps.
Definitely should be something to keep an eye on. But I don't think there's many people racing the Alpha in this league, are there? I don't believe so. And I just answered my own question with a maybe. Very intriguing.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm not sure who else is running Alpha, but I do believe there are at least 1 or 2 other Alpha drivers in the league currently. I will take a look at T-Case and P8. Kind of has this section of the track to himself, as do many drivers out there.
So with the exception of 5th to 9th place, everyone else pretty much seems to be in no man's land.
There's different tires though. We could see some juicy racing in the last few laps if they do end up closing together.
I'm really looking forward to that. I really am.
So just got word from production that Stiggy, in a different split, is also racing for Team Alpha.
Wonder if he's paying attention to the strategy here, because T-Rex arm started in last. And, it's really showing that the top end speed of the Alpha isn't really a factor, because he's getting it done so far.
If he's not watching now, he's definitely going to want to take a look at the... Oh, that was
Odd.
netcode. Looked like a cameraman got run over, but it was just netcode. I was about to say he went off, and that is a common corner to go off at.
He's the cameraman, though. He's got all the plot armor.
You know what they say? The cameraman never dies.
Exactly.
Well, there was this one movie.
Oh, shit.
Maybe 2. What is it? I don't think the camera people in Blair Witch turned out so well.
That's a fair point.
Or was it Cloverfield, for that matter?
Yeah.
Completely off track, but I think the weirdest camera person was in Project X. That's a tale for another time.
Indeed.
Great movie. You've not?
Oh man.
No, I haven't.
How dare you? It's a great movie. T-Rex caught Papa.
All right, so we're looking at P5 and P6. The battle for P5 is starting to heat up.
And
T-Rex
T-Rex
on those softs got a lot more pace over Papa. Might be able to stick his nose down the inside, outbrake him a little bit. Nope, he's going to stay behind Papa for right now.
He's going to run the
try to
smart
make
race.
his move a little bit later on the lap.
He's got 4 laps to get it done, and because of the difference in tire, he definitely will get it done in these soft tires of his, which are extremely well for this late in the stint. He has, let's see, 6:31. T-Rex Arms is about 31 seconds away from a podium. So
that one might be tough, but first he's got to survive this battle. Now RSR Zilla is joining in on the fun. So T-Rex is going to want to try to get around Papa as soon as possible, so that way he can continue to use the extra grip in those soft tires. Standing at 30 air, it's not going to help his tire life at all. RSR Zilla is going to try to stick behind as well, because whenever a T-Rex makes a move, that might put Papa in a disadvantageous position, and he might be able to follow through and take P6 away from Papa.
And you know, Zilla catching up to T-Rex Arms and Papa might be the best thing to happen for Papa, because there's going to be a fight between T-Rex Arms and Zilla, and that may give Papa a little time to pull away briefly, because those hard tires aren't exactly the quickest thing on the track.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if T-Rex got a bad exit out of that last corner from the straight, but it looks like he lost a lot of time to Papa down that straight, even having slipstream. I was going to have another shot at it again. Looks like he got some really good exit coming out of turn 1. If we can stick close to him coming out of Eau Rouge Radeon, he might have another opportunity to take away P5. Zilla's sticking just a wee bit back, but he got a slightly better exit out of Radeon. Let's see what Papa can do. He's going to try to make that
goes
McLaren
defensive
as wide as possible.
T-Rex Arms is going for it. He doesn't get it done, and he goes a bit wide.
Yeah, Papa with a really good defensive drive there, just slightly later on the brakes. Definitely making T-Rex work for it.
Zilla goes
going to
for
go
it
down
now.
the inside. Slight bit of contact, but I think he might have it. He is in P6 in front of T-Rex.
I think now T-Rex Arms is feeling the wear from those tires. He's got to be.
Yeah, it definitely could be overheating after spending all that time behind Papa. Oh, now it's Zilla's turn. Can he catch up to Papa and try to take that P5 away from him? Yeah, super close battle right here. T-Rex doing a really good job sticking with RSR Zilla during the twisty section. Here's going to be where the Lexus really gets to stretch his leg, excuse me. Let's see. Again, I don't think the McLaren has the best top speed.
No, definitely not.
They have a really good advantage here.
We have RSR Pablo catching up to KW, and this seems like it has potential to get a little sticky if Pablo can get maybe another 2 or 3 tenths, and he does, because KW goes wide back there in 11th place. KW
looks like
lets him
Pablo is
go.
also another driver that Sonar Sauceton. Yeah, KW let him by.
They're both on
still
call.
got 3. Oh, I would not have gone soft to the Viper. That's definitely a bold choice. It looks like the Lamborghini was pretty good on its tires. With 3 laps left, I think he'll be able to make it comfortably to the end of the race. I'm looking at P5, Papa, and Zilla almost nose to tail. Zilla getting all that slipstream. I don't think he'll be quite close enough to make a move.
And Zilla
Stay
goes
behind for a moment.
Zilla goes purple, and Pablo actually has the fastest lap of the race now. And Zilla's going for the move on Papa now as well, in the same spot that he overtook T-Rex Arms.
Oh, almost the exact same fashion. He does get it done.
Now he has about
exit out, no name.
Yep. Now he has 6 seconds to catch up to Corn. And Corn's, pretty much in. Well, I mean, barring a crash, I think podium's pretty much locked in. It's going to be Jersey, Oak, and Evolve. So.
Yeah, I think that might be the case as well. Those guys are pretty spread out at this point.
Yeah.
But battle for P5 and P6. I don't know. It looks like T-Rex arms. Looks like his softs are starting to give up on him.
Yeah, he's starting to feel it. And he's still on. I think he's one of the. Well, let's see. We have Corn in traction control, T-Rex arms in traction control, Metal in traction control, and KW in traction control. So, still at this point.
We are starting our penultimate lap. Zilla in P5 enters turn 1, just over a second ahead of Papa. Papa might be able to stick with him if he stays within the slip, but that might not be possible. Looks like he's just outside of slipstream range. He might fall into the clutches of T-Rex arms. I don't know, like those soft tires might not have the grip at this point.
Papa's he's actually still in slipstream range. Slipstream works for Group 3. It's 1.3 seconds. So Papa's still able to benefit lightly from the slipstream. But the thing is those medium tires. I expect Zilla to pull away during the infill. And if he can break that slip before the last flat out section, he should be golden. Yeah,
Papa's doing everything he can to try to stay in the slipstream range of Zilla. The gap to P4 is now down to 4.2 seconds. It might be a stretch, but small mistake from Corn could put Zilla right behind him in battle for P4.
Oh yeah, definitely.
RSR Zilla does manage to pull out of slipstream range from Papa. Yeah, it looks like T-Rex arms, it's just falling further and further back. I don't think he was able to make those softs go the distance, unfortunately. And we're going to keep an eye on Zilla as of right now. Going up to Corn Identity. Corn Identity entering bus stop for the penultimate time. Hard tires are still going strong for him. He's got 1 lap to try to stay ahead of Zilla. Gap is still at about 4 seconds. I think as long as he can just keep his car in the black stuff, I think he'll be able to hold on to P4. Yeah, really unfortunate race. I think he had two incidents that really cost him a shot at a better position. Imagine he'd be up there with Evolve fighting for P3, if not even higher. Yep, hard on the brakes going into turn 4. I don't think the drivers have to worry too much about any moisture on the track at this point.
I think Evolve might be saving fuel. No, not anymore. No, it looked like he had fuel management for a while, but he's starting to pick up now.
So Zilla is closing the gap. The gap is now 2.6 seconds. So I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Corn Identity may not be safe, but Jersey is safe. He is tagged as safe from this race. He will come around to take the checkered flag for Toyota in the Supra. Oak in the BMW. Looks like he will take P2. Coming across the line with a slight drift coming out of bus stop. And then to round out the podium, oh, we got Evolved also drifting out of bus stop. And now we're going to go back to the battle for P4. 2.1 seconds, the gap is closing. I think if just Corn Identity just holds on to it, nails the breaking point for bus stop, he should be able to hold on to P4. A valiant effort from RSR Zilla. T-Rex Arms, fortunately, wasn't able to keep up after the soft tires dropped off. Corn Identity crossed the line in P4, RSR Zilla P5. T-Rex will come home in P6.
Oh, certainly did.
I didn't even notice. Papa dropped to P7. T-Case almost takes P7 away from Papa, but T-Case takes 8th. Beavis comes home to take P9 in the McLaren. I didn't see a lot from Metal in this race, but he will come home to take P10 in the GDI.
In Godzilla.
And then our final two drivers, Pablo Chacon, looks like he's going to come home to take P11. And
He's out of. Is he out of
my
gas?
Viper Brethren in 12. He might be. Yes, he is out of gas.
Whoa. In the
Fortunately,
nick
he
of time.
had a big enough. Oh, I think the Viper's out of gas too. That's to be expected, though. That Viper is definitely a gas guzzler. If you're not short shifting it, which you should be anyway, it will eat up gas. But it's good for qualifying if you need a fuel burn. Wow, a lot happened in that race. Leo, you want to take us through the final order?
Sure, I can do that. Coming in first place is PHG Jersey in the Supra. P2 is PHG Oak. P3 is Evolved. P4 is Corn Identity, CBR. P5 is RSR Zilla. P6 is T-Rex Arms. P7 is our proprietor, Papa. P8 is T-Case. Moving on down the order is BHR Beavis 75 in P9. P10 is Metal. P11 is RSR Pablo. I'm not good at saying the last part, so y'all just gonna have to forgive me on that one. P12 PHG KW47 and P13 PHG C Doves with a DNF, unfortunately.
Well, those two races were absolutely jam-packed with action all the way up and down the grid. Leo, do you have any thoughts about what we just witnessed in Split 3?
Looked like the rain was actually the biggest factor. Someone did do what I said earlier, and they pitted a lap before everybody else, and that was T-Case, so he must have been listening in, or took the idea, because me and him have similar thoughts, and said, I'm going to go now before everybody gets in here, and had that unfortunate incident in the very beginning, and dropped to last, and finished, what, P7? P8. Sorry, P8. I just read it. You would think I would remember that, but other than that, I mean, everybody closely battling everybody, that's crazy to do in the rain and on a drying track. That's the stuff that makes everybody's anxiety go up.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely felt that in my race. PHG Pyro, if I'm not mistaken, you will be racing tomorrow. What intel have you gathered from today's races that you will put to use in your race tomorrow?
Okay, so the important thing is to remember that I race tomorrow, so I won't be revealing what I noticed too much. But you guys, you guys gave me all the information I need. So good luck. Unfortunately, I haven't raced in a while. It's been a couple of weeks. I had a bunch of stuff to do, but so I didn't qualify as good as I normally do. And I'm terrible in the rain. But some things
Good to
are
know for
duly
future
noted.
reference.
Huh?
So good to know for future reference.
Oh, it's fine. And I'm still blazing fast.
Yeah, you are.
But
Yeah, you are.
there are lots of things that I noticed with this. I also want to give a big shout out to T-Rex Arms. He for this race I'd have to give him driver of the day. Him starting in last place and nearly getting not too far off of a podium. Impressive. But tire strategy is extremely important here. I think it's obvious what tires we should use and which tires we shouldn't. For those racing tomorrow, if you haven't figured it out, I'm not going to tell you. Please don't rewind because you won't know. Good race, man. Very good races today.
All right, now let's go to you, Leo. Who is your driver of the Split 3 race?
I'm gonna be super biased, and it's TK's. Just for the simple fact that he did have his incident at the beginning of the race, stuck with it, and made it back up the order, up to P8s, and had the brilliant move that I thought of. So, essentially TK's.
So if I had to pick a driver of the day, I always try not to pick the winner, but Jersey, he just had a super clean race, relatively event-free. I think he got 1 half-second penalty the entire race and managed to keep his car in the proper direction for the entire race, and that ultimately was the key to winning this race. So, yeah, congrats to Jersey. Congrats to Oak and Evolve for finishing out the podium. Congrats to the podium finishers in my race as well. So, guys, tomorrow we have not 2 races. We will have 3 races tomorrow. It's going to be a marathon. You're going to have to bring food, snacks. Like you're going to have to meal prep for these races tomorrow. It's going to be insane. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Just quick reminder, thank you to Salamander, the guy on the production team, gave us all of those amazing camera views and replays. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I almost never say that, so it sounds weird when I say it. So for tomorrow's 3 splits, a T-Case will be the one streaming that. So if you're not already subscribed to him, go subscribe to him. Again, like and subscribe to Salamander. Leo, I'll go to you first. Final thoughts.
I wish everybody the best of luck tomorrow. Stay calm in the rain at the track. Be safe. If you gotta work, be safe at work. And hope everybody has a good night.
Okay.
All right, and Pyro.
Shaggy, this one's for you. I had a beer. What? Another beer. What? 3 beers. What? 4 beers. What? 5 beers. What? And a Bloody Mary. Great racing, everybody. Congratulations to all the guys who finished podium. Shout out to my 2 picks for driver of the day, even though I should never pick Jorge as driver of the day. I gave him one. Tune in for tomorrow. Should be hopefully 3 more interesting races.
So before I sign off, I have to apologize to Evolved. Apparently he went from last to 3rd. So shout outs to Evolved. You also ran an amazing race. We are sorry we did not mention that. So much happened in that race, we couldn't see everything. that's
Oh,
on us.
major shout out to Evolved In, because I thought T-Rex Arm was in last. Big shout out to Evolved.
All right, well, guys, that is going to be it from us. This is Tuzzenbox, aka Velvet Thunder. Please help control the box population. Have your boxes crushed and recycled. I hope to see y'all tomorrow.
The engine's roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we've been named, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, ain't looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Team strong, bonds like no other. Brothers, sisters, ain't no undercover. Victory sweet, but honor even sweeter. Every race together makes the fight deeper. Crowds chant as the lights go green. Adrenaline rush, it's a traveler's dream. When stumble fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we rule the steeple. Great racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Good racers, better people. Great racers, better people. Crowds chant as the lights go green. Adrenaline rush, it's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again for the best.